All right, we are live. Guest is having some car trouble. Maybe we should walk up, check out the plants. Young Reddy's in the house. Dogs are out here making a bunch of noise. Got a hen out in the woods, laying an egg. Getting the puppies all worked up. Got two in the house. What else got out there? How's the dogs doing? How's the plants doing? I'm kicking ass over here. Every seed I planted sprouted. The last one sprouted today. We got some probably 18-inch tall volunteers. Yesterday. And saying we got Anthro. Did we lose Caveman? We did for a minute. Sounds choppy. That's because I was walking too far away from my internet. So I gotta grab the hotspot, tote that with me up to the cage. I wonder where Asno's at. I wonder if he got his seeds yet. Starting to wonder where we are. Here it is. Yeah, that's that rooster my buddy gave me. Had a hen going off in the woods, laying an egg, had all the puppies barking, couldn't think straight. These Malinois pups, man, they're on top of everything. They are super defense driven, super aggressive, super mouthy. Yeah, they're good pups. They want to follow me everywhere. They tracked me down out in the woods the other day. I mean, they did have the help of couple trails by default to find me, but I wasn't on the trail and they turned off, tracked me down by scent. Pretty amazing, actually. Little teeny pups to have the drive and the ability to do that. Yeah, I got a dog trainer coming on. And he says he might have something on his mind to talk about. We'll see what that might be. Yeah, these Malinois pups, they look just like coyote puppies, except for their mahogany color. Their skull structure, features. I was listening to Brian. Alert guard dogs. Yeah, the LGD is, and that's another reason I bred LGD into my protection dogs, is they have super tuned in senses, and they're bred to detect noises and scents and eagles and everything from a distance. And yeah, they're very in tune with their senses, very smart. Turn my auto rotate. Yeah, I haven't been taking care of these. These are my volunteers that just popped up. Smaller one. There's one. But they're probably getting old enough to start looking for hairs. So I'll have to get a magnifying glass. I'm about blind, but actually I think if I had a good camera, I think there might even be a telltale sign right there. Yeah. A couple of them popped up. There's my echinacea. This is starting to flower already. It's a biannual. Planted them last year. I was doing really good. No, you guys can't come in here. You get yourself in trouble in here. My hostas. More echinacea on here. American Bulldogs, but you can chippy right past them. Oh yeah. Yeah, I believe it. They're doing pretty good. Go check out the seedlings. I got some J5 seeds, some J Patrick seeds. What else I got? Oh, Seed Person 1. He's supposed to be firing his show back up in a couple weeks. You guys that follow him on Instagram probably already know that. But if you're not already, go subscribe, follow. seed person one. What's this say? I'll be there in the next 15 minutes. Got everything taken care of. All right, sounds good. There, guess. Somebody got trapped over there. Yep. What I got here, this is the toad, right? Yep. Oh no, this one don't have a. Unless a bird coming in it. I swear they were all sprouted. We got that cold snap and hit that like 40s and wet. Some of the seeds had to replant. There's the new one. We got here more toad. Toad, here's our goss girl. Here, 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 and there. These are caribou, Catahoula. We'll check out Jay's auto flowers. What you whining about over there? Here's my sunchokes. I planted 2 rows about 3 foot apart year before last, and I've got this all filled in on its own. Get out of here. You guys aren't allowed in my garden. Get. Fuckheads. Oh, my camera's off. That's what those autoflowers are looking like. Let's see how it's got little bugs on it. Haven't done anything with them. Get out here and weed. Yeah, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in a meristem. Right. You can get hurt out here. I'm telling you, get out of here. What I got here? Oh, looks like maybe something happened to that seed. What's this one? Sour diesel. What's up? Yep. Did 2 of my cat pest crosses. You can run through those. See if we can find a good cat pest pheno to breed to my buddy's super skunk clone. What's that? Only forwards, gorilla poison. Hillbillies, all they're hillbillies. All right, hillbilly herb, or hillbilly herb, however you say that. Yeah, we're gonna Afghan them a couple times this year. Yeah, I don't know what the cycle's like on these plants, but Should be within the next month. Mail should be popping out. All right, hold on a minute. I gotta. How do I do that? I gotta see here. Figure out how to send him the YouTube link. Try to do it without. Well, how the hell you do that? Need the StreamYard link. He wants the. Oh, you need it? He wants the YouTube link for his friends. This is a Catahoula from Skunk. What's that say? Is that Skunk BA? Sent me a link to the channel earlier, but huh? Oh yeah. Yep, I did. Oh man, I don't know how. Seems like, are you listening, Zion? You should be able to just go right to the show on YouTube and share that with them. I don't remember how the hell I get out of here and go to YouTube without cutting it off. In fact, I was wanting to do that to pass out wrenches. Dogs. Yeah, I should probably put some of you guys inside so I don't have to watch you. Yeah. Oreo! Inside! He can hit the. Yeah. Yep. That's what I was thinking. But he is, but he wants his friends to watch. So he wants to send them the YouTube link, then he wants to hop on the show. Fuck's that dog at? She always comes with a collar. Oreo! Come on! You shut up, mouthy. You don't want to play with you. Little Malinois. Chasing my band dog pup around, trying to kick his ass. You ain't killer. Hey, you quit chewing on me, fucker. Well, they're fearless too. They don't not worried about the big dogs. There's bigger pups do take food away from them. So. What's that? Hate this screen layout. Little fucker. You want to play with me now and chew on me. They do look like coyotes, don't they? Get the same. Take a picture of a coyote pup. The silhouette, the head structure, the ears, the muzzle, everything. Look at these. Look just like a coyote with fawn coat, mahogany coat instead of a goody. And they're just as mousy. Talking dogs. Canis latrans, the talking dog. What else we got to show? My rooster is missing a bunch of feathers. It's that time of year where he doesn't have all his feathers. That's my Albany American game paw. They're pretty birds when they have all their feathers, especially their tail. First thing I noticed about the bird I seen was their tail. No, there's no coyote genes in my dogs. That's from the Belgian Shepherd that I have. He looks just like a wolf. He's a very impressive dog. It's crazy. Yeah, he's pretty serious. Mm-hmm. I'm sure. I say that to all the boys. Oh, shit. You got a GSP there, huh? I'm looking to get one of those. I want to find a nice German short hair to throw into my breeding. No big hurry, but the band dog blend. My band dogs are Great Dane and XL American Bully. Pretty nice dogs, pretty loyal, they're definitely human oriented. Their owner follow you around, listen, pretty intelligent, listen real good. Well, hell, my two dogs once went hunting. Well, time for me to go sit down and roll one. Wait for Zion to come jump up there. Yep, I like my hounds. Yep. Yeah, it's kind of crazy actually. I don't ever not come right back as soon as I call them. Must have found something. Oh, there they are over there. Yeah, they made a loop. They come out the other side. See if they got any blood on them. They come back. What they've been eating. Oreo, get over here. How you been, dog? You guys quit picking on that little puppy. Doing what? Let's go inside. Hurry up. I'm ready to get out. Good girl. You am what? I am. What are you, am? Yep, that's true. We see that in a lot of police dogs. The police get this dog, and it's the cop that's the asshole being the aggressor, and the dog turns on because the dog's been taught to bite the aggressor, and you can tell by energy and actions who's doing what. Pretty funny. Well, yeah, those kind of dogs I prefer that they just naturally, in a way you don't have to have them bred crazy stupid, where they just want to bite. Martial artist, what's up, bud? Pocket message, eh? It's kind of scary. My voice vibrate your phone or something? What the fuck am I doing in your pocket? Yeah, I'm trying to switch over to that type of dog. Um, so like before, my dogs have always been super friendly. I've had pit bulls, real pit bulls, not the. Well, I did have some mixes, but I didn't have the XL bully type back then. They had the mastiff in them to be human aggressive. They were game dogs, so they were all about people. And I had hounds. Of course, they're all about people. But I'm getting in more of the massive shepherd type, aggressive, or just not necessarily even aggressive, just human suspicious. Yeah, yeah. I was wet most of the day. I got fucking soaked first thing this morning, pouring down rain, and then I was out. I was out in the rain half the day after that. Well, it feels good to sit down for a minute anyway. Moving dirt, huh? Moving dirt with a shovel? With a rake? What are you doing? Yeah, I have that, bud. Yeah. Yeah, that's one good thing to be known for, is being a good worker. In fact, I just had somebody tell me that yesterday. One of my old employers told me that at the bar recently. We ain't playing stuff. Oh, what we got here? Wonder how long I've been ignoring this notification. You're live.
Yes, sir. 1 second.
How long you been sitting backstage?
Well, 1 second. I'm trying to be able
Yeah,
to hear you. It's not.
Yeah, you're not coming through very good here either.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
That's a little better.
All right, talk now.
Yep.
Okay.
Testing. Yeah, you got me
Yeah, no,
now.
I can hear. I can hear you. It's just it sounds. It doesn't sound as loud as it maybe could be.
All right, let
Wondering
me check
why
my
that is
number.
on my end.
You're coming through the same. It's weird, but my mic is and speaker are both turned all the way up. If anything, you should be getting feedback from my end.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, because you're turned up all the way for me, and it doesn't usually do this for me. So, give me a second. See if it's setting thing in audio. Okay.
Yep. Well, I don't. Well, I don't know. Mine. I have to do it before I come
Here
in the
we are. I can
studio.
hear you now. I can hear you.
Sweet. Yep.
It was a settings thing. You have to go into settings under your audio. You have to put it to speaker.
Mm.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
weird. It's
Yeah.
weird.
So you said you had something on your mind?
Yeah.
Well, first you should probably tell everybody that you're back and who you are, and anybody new that's listening who you are, what you do.
All right. My name's Zion Mitchell. Um, right now we're in the consultation business for dog training, and we're starting to get into apparel as well. We're still developing that as we go, but yeah, it's kind of me. I've been in the dog training industry for about 6 years. In the last I would say about 3 years, I've delved into working dogs and being purely working dogs, but I do have a pet background and service background. So it's kind of me.
Oh, there's Heather. Send her a text real quick. Oh, she's all right. Yeah. Said she just got in, but oh, I see.
There we
Yeah.
are. Oh, that's how you see. That makes sense now. That's how you see everyone typing. See, I was going in chat before, but everything's in the comment section. All right, I see it now.
Yeah. Let's see, mostly outdoor and some greenhouse. Yep. I'm all outdoor here. Yep.
Back in the days when I actually used to grow.
Yep. So anyway, now you're into the working dogs.
Yep, that's where I love to be.
Hell yeah. Dogs should have a purpose.
For
Yep.
sure. I mean, that's why they were
My
created.
neighbor, yeah, they're supposed to be a helper. I tell people if your dog won't hunt and it won't bite me, if I try to break in your house, your dog ain't worth feeding.
I totally agree. I mean, no dog was created to just be eating up food. That's kind of something that happened when we actually had a surplus of things, of food and things like that. But we really take it back. No, if your dog can't hunt, it can't protect, it can't add a good facet to your life, then I do agree. It's just no, there's no point to that dog. I mean, I don't personally enjoy those dogs. I know some people do, but that's just because people have money now to spend on things that don't necessarily do anything besides add companionship. And that's
Okay,
okay
yeah,
for
those
some
are
people.
sociopaths. Yep. Hey, caribou. Yeah, those people, what they'll tell you is, oh, that's my companion, which they pretty much tell you, fuck everyone else. This is my dog is going to replace you. My dog's going to replace my kids. My dog, yeah,
Yeah,
I
for
have big
sure.
issues with that. Yeah,
Oh, I definitely do. I mean, to be honest with you, if you want a companion, maybe try to
that's
create
like,
closer relationships with humans or get a cat or something like that, you know?
yeah, humans. That's why I have more than one of those fuckers. Yeah, I think it. I think it's funny, but it's a mental condition. If you ask me, these dogs are created just to be dependents. They've been commercialized just like everything else. Make the
Oh, for sure.
ASPCA, AKC, the American Veterinary Association, they're all raking in money from our dependency or the dog's dependency
Oh,
and
yeah,
poor health.
for sure. You know, if we can like dive down into that just a little bit. So like when the sport Schutzen was created, that was supposed to be a breed test for German Shepherds, right? And there was a showing aspect of it. But not just showing, there was a health and there was a working side to it. That to me is beneficial, right? IGP beneficial. But AKC, if we
Oh, what happened? You pushed the mute button?
did I?
You said A. Yep, you're back. I thought you said AKC and they shut you down that fast.
Yeah, I know, right? They're already on me. But yeah, no, talk about the AKC. Let's be honest with you. A lot of the breeds that are structurally maybe be a good in their breed, they aren't temperamentally or behaviorally what they need to be. Because if we talk about an Italian Greyhound, or not Italian Greyhound, but the normal Greyhound, those should be drivey dogs. Anything less than a
Yep,
drivey Greyhound isn't a good Greyhound. But conformation
yep.
isn't showing that, and they're going to accept those dogs for not being dry.
Sure. They want them to be tempered to be in a ring with other dogs and be handled. You got to walk up, be able to play with their balls and their teeth, not getting
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, that's not a Rottweiler. A
That's
Rottweiler
neither an
turn around,
Akita as
take
well.
right, right. You grab a Keeler or a Rottweiler, English Mastiff or something by the nuts, he should take your fingers off.
For sure, but that's what they should do, though.
Yep, yep,
For
I
sure.
agree.
And it
Yeah, I've
sucks
been
to
in the
see, to
dog.
be honest with you.
Yeah, it really does. Balls and teeth. Yeah, Andrew. Yeah,
Balls
I
and
mean,
teeth.
it's just they figured it out. They figured out how to make the pet industry dependent on them, control it,
Yeah,
manipulate it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's. I don't even know. I'm sure you can find out how big is the pet industry.
I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure the pet industry right now is reaching, I believe it's around 2 billion. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the chat, but I think right now we're at around $2 billion, either between
Yeah,
maybe even 5 billion right now. So it's a big industry.
yep.
Hey guys, anyone in the chat right now that has any questions or like topics, drop them down so we can answer them. I want to make this a productive conversation and maybe answer somebody's questions if they have any. I'm trying to find how to share the link for this.
You go to YouTube.
Okay.
Yep, just go to the YouTube broadcast and share that link.
All
I
right.
I could have done that before the show started, but and there's a way I can do it now, and there's a way I can go to YouTube. You can't hear me while I'm over there, but I can hear you, and I can do stuff in YouTube and bounce back. But I've only done it once, and I can't remember. I'm doing all this shit on an Android phone. Um, yeah, so I don't remember how the hell I do that because I don't see the YouTube link here. Like when I'm in the studio, it shows me a YouTube link. Exotic bullies, fluffy Frenchies are prime examples of what not to do. Yeah. Well, people like the exotic and they like that talk piece. Like, oh, wow, what kind of dog is that? Or, wow, I've never seen a dog like that before. Um, and that's what they're looking for.
Like, but that gets into a weird side of the world. Like, I won't lie, maybe at the beginning when I got my two personal dogs, I may have been a good way to start conversations with people. But at the end of the day, they're whether we want to say mental health issues, just problems in general. I mean, you should be able to communicate without a dog. I know some people may need a conversation starter, but that's
Yep.
still not a good enough reason for me to own a dog, at least personally.
Well, a lot of people do, though. Even just the status symbol of it. The pit bull, that's the reason for a lot of its ownership, especially back in the day. It was that status symbol. Just like anything, like shoes or vehicles or whatever.
I mean, yeah, it's not much different than all of that. And it
Yep.
saddens me because the American pit bull, like, this is how I like to think about it. A lot of people buy breeds or whatever, but they don't actually care about how they were made. Like, you should pay homage to the people that took hundreds, multiple years to create the perfect dog for a certain task.
Yeah.
But you don't care about that at all. You just care about
Right.
whatever the product is. But when you
Yep.
think about the families and the individuals who created it, maybe you should pay homage to the fact that they spend multiple generations trying to create a dog. And for you to dilute it with whatever you want, that's just disrespectful in my opinion.
Yep. Absolutely. Just like they say in the cannabis industry, we're riding on the backs of giant or on the shoulders of giants that come before us. That they blazed these trails and paved these ways and built this foundation and made these developments, and we're just exploiting what we like out of that. You know, and that's the same with dogs. Western Main
Exactly.
man, how you doing, brother? Hey, we got a question here for you,
Oh
directed
yeah,
right
talk
at
to
you.
people with Mate syndrome and older dogs.
Yep. You should probably. What is litter mate syndrome?
Okay. Well, I hope the definition isn't necessarily too broad, but littermate syndrome, at least in my head, is just a developmental bond that's usually curated between litters, obviously with inside litters, and usually these problems are going to develop when you keep two of the same. And the best way I like to think about it is just animosity that's grown, right? So anyone that has a brother or sister, they understand that, let's not say hatred, but let's say if your brother since birth has always been on your tail about a certain thing, through time that's going to internally build up. And in building up, just like it happens in humans, they're going to snap. They're going to create animosity towards each other through time just because they've been with each other since birth. That's the best way I like to think of littermate syndrome and like correlate into like a human aspect.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like resentment in a way.
Exactly. That's the right word right there. Resentment. It builds up. Um,
How you doing, Heather?
but
What's up? How are you?
I'm doing
hey,
good.
Heather,
I'm real
what's up?
good.
It sounds like we're talking about littermate syndrome. Is that what you're talking about, Zion?
Yes, that is what we're talking about right now.
It's pretty ugly. My sister's got dogs with littermate syndrome. It's pretty bad. They tried to kill each other. It's like 3 times now. The fights keep getting worse. And
Yeah.
they got them. She's got them pretty well separated, but barriers are meant to fail. And the last fight they had was actually Christmas Day, and one of the dogs had gotten kind of loose in the house and they were okay for a minute. And then the fight broke out and it took them 10 minutes to break it up. And the one dog, she had a drain tube in her chest for like 2 weeks. Ended up with like 15 staples in her chest. She had two sutures on her head by her face. Like them dogs will kill each other. Like they will kill each other simply for breathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of dogs you talking about?
They're pitties. They're game bred pitties.
Oh, you're adding fuel
Oh
to the
yeah, are they the
fire with
same
that
sex?
one.
Yep, two game bred pitties, females. She got them out of Flint, and the guy
Oh,
told her, "Well, they're the last ones, and they love each other." I said, "Don't do it. Don't make
that's
that
the
mistake."
worst
And she took them
combination.
home, and I hung up the phone when she told me she took them home.
Two females is the worst. That's worse than two males.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
Yep. That's
yeah.
her problem now. No, that now though, not mine. She asked me like 2 years ago if I could help her. I said nope. But
No
I,
can do.
yeah, I don't. I could handle them, but I really don't have any interest in pit bulls. For one, they're way too small for what I'm doing. Well, I am a fan. That's what I started off with. That's my first. I mean, I was as a kid. I had hounds, beagles, walkers, bouviers. But as an adult, my first dog was a pit bull.
yeah, I've had pitties all my life. They're pretty much I think they're pretty much the bomb.com, and I think the blood and the real, like, we've talked about this before. I think the real, like, the meat and potatoes of what a good pity is has gotten like watered down through like perceptions of drive and perceptions of, aggression. They got to be aggressive. We need to breed for aggression, and like I think it's
Hmm.
just I think they just there's been some things that have screwed up pitties a little bit. The blue nose, we talked about the blue nose last time.
Yeah,
But
yeah. A lot of it is people got away from the idea of the pit bull, and they started leaning towards bigger dogs that had more mouth. And that was never the idea with a game dog. They were bred for gameness to put on a show. There's
mm-hmm.
a lot of other dogs that could kill a pit bull very quickly, but that's not the idea. Them being the ultimate warrior, they're the ultimate show,
Mm-hmm.
the ultimate show
Mm-hmm.
display.
Mm-hmm. I think all the reasons that they make really great pit dogs and really great game dogs are all the reasons I love the breed. Like their tenacity, their like I tell people who own them, like, your dog has like a marquee of thought in his head, but the problem is before the thought is done scrolling through that marquee, the dog's already acting on it. Like You got to teach these guys a whole buttload of impulse control. Up, of course, these are pet people, but all that is the reason. Like I love them. Like they're all in. Like whatever it is they're doing, they're all in. They don't hide their feelings. They're on it. Like they're pretty amazing. But I don't know.
Yep. They are admirable. That's why the dogmen back in the day were into that breed, was the admiration.
Mm-hmm. They're pretty cool. I love them.
And teach you a lot about life too. You're trying to grow and develop. Being around a game animal is a good thing to have around.
Yeah, I
Teach you
grew
not to
up.
be such a sissy.
I grew up with them, like as a kid, and it wasn't not like we had them as pets, but you know how that goes. You kind of live in, I don't want to say the ghetto, but where I lived, there was boys on the corner and like signs that told you don't come in this area, like this is a drug enforcement area, and people sold puppies, and you pick up a puppy for 150, $200, and they only have 4 puppies, and you take it home as a pet. Guess what I grew up with, but I don't know. Maybe my family was dumb, but I love them to death. I think everybody should have a pit bull, honestly. I don't know. What you got going on this week, Caveman? Hello?
Oh shit! I muted myself.
Yeah, we
Putting
lost
up.
Zion too.
Oh yeah. Oh, here he's coming back. I'm putting up dog fence. Planting cannabis, and hopefully working on my vegetable garden.
I don't know why they call it though. I'm not a partaker in cannabis. I wish I could, but I can't. Um, somebody with some decent CBD stuff, I'm there.
Yeah,
But I
I
don't
know people that
understand.
grow that.
I don't understand why they call it the devil's lettuce when the devil ain't got nothing to do with growing it. Everybody will argue that this a plant. God made this, but they call it the
Yep.
devil's lettuce. I think that's hilarious.
Well, everything about our world is backwards. Look at everything we. I mean, me and Zion was just talking about the pet industry and the dogs of today. Everything is backwards.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
and that's one of them. Yeah.
yep. A friend of mine, we were just commenting on the breeding dog world that I'm currently in search of a pretty a dog capable of like high level competition. And I spoke with somebody recently about a dog, and there was some things had gone back and forth and were said, and I very slowly realized, like I told my friend, that you can't you just can't get a good dog like these. It's just everybody says that you need to get a good dog to do the things, but you can't get a good dog because all the good breeders give them to everybody else. Girls. All the good breeders give them to everybody else, but you show up with a junk dog and they tell you, oh, you can't do this with this dog. Like everything is so fucking backwards in the dog world. Like everything is just
Yeah.
gatekeeping and barriers to entry.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Okay.
Bloodline. And I can get it to a certain point, like there you want to be sure that who you're giving your bloodline to is going to really use it. But let's be
Yeah.
honest with you. Like if we talk about KNPV dogs, not until the last maybe 10 years has the KNPV really opened up their breeding program. And that's mostly just due to them being able to sell sperm at this point, right? They're able to sell sperm. So now we have Berry dogs, we have the Peggy dogs, we have all those good Dutch dogs coming into the States. But before the last 10 years, we didn't have that. There was nothing like that. If you wanted to get a KNPV dog, you had to search far and wide for a breeder who didn't even have a number, had an email or something of the sort. And then you have to go there, you have to select your dogs, but it's a much more complicated process, at least how it used to be compared to now. But like you were saying, Heather, it's like at this point, I rather just put faith in what I have than trying to outsource to someone who's maybe not even telling me the truth about their bloodlines, the authenticity of it all.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like, I think that something has to be said about like, you know, if I'm looking for a police dog, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna source that dog from a place that obviously is doing the things with those dogs. Like I'm gonna go looking for the best gun for the job. If I'm gonna go rob a liquor store, I'm not packing a little, 6-piece shooter 22. If I'm gonna go there with the intent to hurt somebody, I'm gonna bring something that's gonna put somebody down.
For sure.
Witnesses don't tell no stories. So I think that's kind of how I relate it to the dog world. Like I want to make sure that the gun I have and the bullet inside of it is fit to do the task I'm going to do to the level I want to do it. I'm
Yeah.
not looking for a 22. I'm looking for that shotgun, that AK-47, like, but that's the level I want to get to, you know.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
I hope the coach heard that.
The coach.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's another podcaster breeder. He's got a dog. His name is AK-47.
Oh,
It's a
well, I hope
XL bully, XL
AK-47.
pit type.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah. Oh,
like
he's something else, man. Yeah, exceptional dog.
I need to see it. I love pitties. Like I'm a dog junkie. It's my
Yeah, let's
crack.
the guy.
Heather, you got someone in the comments asking you a question.
Oh, what's the
But
question? Let me
What breed are
look.
you looking for, and what to compete in?
I compete in dock diving, ring sports. I want to compete in ring sports. I'm working on a dog right now. And I'm really into the pointy eared dogs. I love pitties, but they can struggle a little bit with some of this stuff. And honestly, like I've kind of
how
moved
old the
into a
dog?
different, huh?
How old the dog you looking for?
Um, Ideally,
Good.
anything from 8 weeks to a year old. I really don't want anything more than a year old unless somebody's got a nice foundation on the dog and it's just one of those life circumstances that, they're moving, they're moving
Yeah,
on for whatever reason. Kids, mom, we all have
yeah.
our
We need to
shit,
hook up.
but I'm trying to do the things. Trying to do the
Yeah,
things. I've got a
How's
female
your
now that
male
I compete
working?
with.
How's your male working out? That male Mal.
Me? Oh, he's
Yeah.
gone.
Oh, he already left. Okay.
Yep, he's gone. My assistant took him, and that's okay. He's got all the pieces there to do the things, I think. He's got all the pieces there to do them, but his socialization as a puppy wasn't there, so he's really delayed and I don't have time to fix all of that.
Yeah, fix all that baggage for
I
sure.
I got a crazy little male pup over here. I mean, I've got a few dogs that I have in mind. I'd love to have you evaluate and see if they'd work, but I've got a. Oh, I took my Pioneer Shepherd LGD breed I made, and I bred her to my Belgian Shepherd, and I've got some hardcore puppies.
Yeah, is this the ones we were talking about initially?
Yep. Yeah, I've
That's
got a
I
cool.
love
nice.
the dog world.
I've, what's that?
I was just saying I love the dog world because at the end of the day, there's always somebody that has something. And like as long as we talk and we conversate, there's gonna be somebody that we barely know that's gonna have exactly what we need. All we need to do is just, oh, what
Yeah.
state? And it's
I'm
Michigan. Yeah.
located in Michigan. Um, I'm in Michigan, like smack dab in the middle of Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are smack dab
She's
in
like
the Michigan.
almost. Yeah, she's like 15 miles from me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm right in the middle of that hand. Smack it. Um, no, I've been looking for a dog for a minute, and I'm being selective because I did the first Mal, and I've got one that's Zion met her.
I'd love to hear that
She's
too. Actually,
she's
I'd
spicy,
love.
and she's got all the drive she needs to override the nerve, but her nerve has stood in her way for a minute, and I've And I'll admit, I jumped around a little bit from club to club and decoys and trying to find the right fit for what works best for me and my dog. I'm not afraid to say, look, she's not progressing. Things aren't moving for her, or things are getting worse, and move on. I'm not going to hang out in a place that isn't healthy. Dog first. Dog first. But Zion met Melee.
Oh yeah, yeah. Maylee's a spicy girl, real spicy.
That's one way to
I've got some
describe
other
her.
prospects too, but I'd love to have you evaluate. Even if you tell me I don't think this dog will work, just tell me why. I'd love to even hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I've got
You're
a,
not you're not far
I've
from
got
me
a.
either. Aren't you out in Coleman? That
I'm in
area?
Loomis. I'm in Loomis between Coleman and Clare. Yep.
Yeah, I get out that way. I'll text you later when we're done and I'll tell you when I get out that way.
You know where Hirschberger's Hardware is? Or
No.
by Herrick.
Wait,
You know where
yes,
Herrick? Okay,
that's
by
over
Herrick
at the
Park.
Amish place, right?
Yes, I can
Oh
see
Yeah.
wait, I
that.
know where you live now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that place from if I look across my field and look across the neighbor's field. I can see that building.
Okay, I know whereabouts you are.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to get out there and see your dogs.
yeah, I've got some nice ones. I've got a
I
nice.
want to see your CBD plants too.
Um, I don't have any, but I have a couple neighbors that have them. I can get some or get some seeds. I was actually going to get some seeds because I want to start growing hemp seed for grain.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I won't smoke it, but if they distill it down to oil or anything like that, I'm game for that. I got some helps my
that's
dog,
easy. Yeah,
but
yeah, I can show you how to do that yourself. Just get the buds for next to nothing and get a bottle of Everclear. That's your solvent, and you just evaporate the alcohol off.
Oh, this takes me back in the day. This takes me back in the day. I love these conversations. I haven't smoked in around 3 months so far, but I remember when I did grow and I did like go down to the dab industry and stuff like that. Yeah, you're bringing back memories right now.
Yeah, I got lots of memories with this plant. About about 39 years worth.
Oh wait, so wait, the question wasn't answered earlier, by the way. What would I do with two dogs that have littermate syndrome that are older? Honestly, I would separate them. Like personally, there's so
Hey,
many.
let me stop you there. He
Okay.
indulged more on that, and he's got one of the. I believe what he said. He's got one of those dogs like separated, and the dog has like some kind of separation, not anxiety, but he says the dog's a shell of its former self now.
Oh,
But is that like a shell of its former self? It went like deep into itself and it's not really interested in interacting at all, or like it's just not confident, scared all the time. Like you can go a couple different directions with that, and that
Yep. Oh, oh,
that that
yeah,
matters when it comes to training.
he didn't elaborate on that, but he did after that. He said the dog has zero human orientation.
Yeah, the dog is on its way to um yeah.
Euthanasia.
Well, no, I mean you can bring it back. It's just a lot of people don't want to put in the work. It takes when you talk about like sits and downs and obedience, air quotes obedience, like that shit's easy. That shit's easy. You hold a cookie, eventually the dog sits down because it's holding its head up, and
Yep.
body mechanics tells it I need to sit. But when you talk
Right.
about changing, making changes in behavior modification is time consuming, it's intense, it's tedious, and a lot of people don't have the time or the patience for it. And it's a lot of building a dog's confidence up. And when you tell somebody how to build a dog's confidence up, they don't believe you. They think it's bullshit. They don't want to do it. It's hard. It requires effort, and they got to go to the park. They got to do this. They got to do that. Nobody wants to do it. Not saying that this guy doesn't, but it's just it's difficult. And when you have two dogs in the house that both individually have these needs for this behavior modification work, like it can be, you got to really love your dog more than you love your patients.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially if you got a mastiff or a bulldog breed.
And the bully breeds,
Kind
like,
of dopey.
they're, yeah, they're built different, you know? They're built different.
Yep. The dogs that are that lack confidence, that kind of freeze up when they don't know what to do or what to, they just like freeze up and lay on their back, or those are the dogs that I had to learn patience with.
Yep.
Do something, even if it's wrong, kind of thing.
He said, do
They just,
something. And I think that's the hard part for where a lot of dogs struggle. Like, you know, those in between dogs where they don't know whether to be submissive or to be confident. Those are the dogs I think that are like really, you know, they're followers. That's kind of how I look at it in my head. Like, some dogs are leaders and some dogs are followers. And most of the dogs in the world want to be followers. They just don't know. They just fucking don't know how. Like, they don't know what to follow, who to follow, and why.
yeah, yeah, they can only know what they're taught and conditioned to.
Yeah, and unfortunately, human beings can be terrible teachers.
Well, they don't. A lot of people, they don't figure out they need to teach the dog until the dog's a problem. Well, they just cuddle it when they want and put it up when they don't, and all of a sudden, oh, my dog doesn't know anything.
And like, littermate syndrome comes from like one puppy that's either very confident or comfortable or outgoing. One puppy is more like, yeah, life is great, and the other puppy is kind of unsure and maybe a little more nervous or a little insecure or just not quite as confident. And that's kind of where like that little like weave shit happens, that toxic relationship happens, and then the one puppy is like, no, look, I need a break, you're too much. I don't know. I think that submissive dog, like, in my experience, like watching dogs play and interact, like one of two ways to start a dog fight real fast is a dog who's too submissive or submissive for too long, and a dog who's too confident and confident for too long. When you have opposite ends of the spectrum together, like, it's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you hit it on its head right there. You know, you saying that actually it made me think. How are those husky puppies doing, Heather?
Oh, they're doing all right. They're all right. Their family's following, you know, following the advice. They're doing the things. They're walking. They're doing the stuff. They're getting big. They're not walking
That's
as good as they were, but you know, people like to let their dogs walk 6, 8 feet in front of them because they have 6 feet of leash. Obviously, means that their dog needs 6 feet of leash.
uh guy in the back, two brothers in the backyard for 2 years, no training. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, things like that. That's what's going to cause it. That's a hard part of the whole training scene, or just owning dogs in general. We can try to predict what dogs are thinking, especially with behavioral cues and things like that, but at the end of the day, we don't know what's going on in that dog's head. We only can give the most rough estimate of what's going on.
No, yeah, yeah. And I think here lately we've come into this like generation of, you know, over anthropomorphization of dogs. Like, we're in a generation where everybody I know is on some kind of medication, and so's their dog. So if your dog has mental health problems, we'll just go to the vet and get some trazodone and some Prozac for the dog too. Like,
Yeah, I had somebody bring me one of those dogs. They brought me this dog to train, and because he had problems, and they brought me these big ass like horse pill type things, like tranquilizers for this dog.
mm-hmm.
I'm telling the whole time, like, that dog does not need that stuff. I can tell you right now, I've never seen a dog that needed that stuff, and he didn't. He never. I never gave him any. For
Yeah.
one, I had to teach him he was a dog. He didn't know he was a dog. So the first thing I did was put him with the rest of my hounds.
You
Then
mean
figure out.
You mean food didn't fall from the sky into the mysterious ceramic bowl with funny letters on it?
That's crazy.
The
Yep.
water bowl didn't fill itself.
Yeah, I think you know, back in when I went to school, they had home ec class and ag class and all that.
Should have had a dog class.
They need to. Everyone needs to know how they need to know animal husbandry. They need to know all the basics. They need to know animal nutrition, animal care. They need to know the animal psychology, all that before they ever get a dog
Mm-hmm.
or before they
Yeah,
ever have kids.
yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
go ahead.
you, so like, it's funny. I've been thinking about it for the last 2 weeks, right? And this might, for some people, this might be like, oh, why would you say this? But like, to be honest with you, I think some breeds, some facet in some way, we need to be able to regulate it in the way of, and this is just my opinion, obviously, but like, if you don't know how to take care of a dog, the only reason why they aren't going to make laws or regulations, maybe, and it's hard, right? We don't want to join a school and then say, hey, now you can work dogs or now you can take care of dogs. But the pet industry's ran on so much, just like you were saying, Heather, of trazodone, Prozac, and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
that they're never going to want that to happen because less dogs are to be able to be bred, to be able to be had. They aren't going to make money. But if we were talking
Mm-hmm.
about the longevity of having someone be able to, I don't know, do what they need to do and have a more healthier understanding relationship, yeah, it might take money out of the pockets of the trainers, maybe a little bit, right? But at the end of the day, there's just some times where like I question, maybe you need a license to carry certain dogs. Maybe you need some type of training before you should be allowed to acquire with certain breeds. Because
As a matter
I
of
get a lot
public
of
safety.
dogs.
Yeah, definitely like melee.
Oh,
Sorry.
dude, I couldn't even see it. Like, give melee to somebody else. Oh my God, it's like they wouldn't even know how to go about it. Now you know how to go about it because through time, consistency, understanding, education, and so forth. But it's like, yeah, dogs like melee, like maybe there should be like a license you should have to, because you have to get a license to carry a gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a gun, at least he has regulations with how much bullets you can buy, things like that. But shoot, dogs like melee or just any dog in general that's like that, that's a gun. It, like, if you really allowed
Mm-hmm.
melee to just be the full version of herself, she would nuke somebody if she had if she could have the choice in certain aspects and give that to someone who is just like, oh my god, she's so pretty, and go off of that basis. Oh, it's a recipe for disaster. And
Mm-hmm.
trainers don't like to
And
talk about that. 'Cause that's what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say Anthro kind of threw something out there. You know, he says that there's a paper that Texas A&M wrote about littermate syndrome. It's astonishing how much information is truly out there available to the general public. Like anybody can become a decoy and anybody can become a dog trainer if I mean a good one, not just a YouTube dog trainer. Like you can become a good one. The information is there. It's out there and available, you know, and there's things you do in the dog's first up to year of life that affects the personality, the you know, everything about that dog. Like I know somebody right now who's working with a pitty and the dog's kind of leaning more aggressive towards humans than it should because of the things they're doing, the choices they're making with the dog. But you can't tell people nothing because they're gonna make up their own mind and they want to do things their way. And okay, well, you know, this is what you're getting. Like, but the information is out there to where you can have a dog like Melee or a dog like Zeke, and they're fine. They're perfectly content animals. But I think it starts first at understanding that they're companion animals. Like the second part of that gets lost everywhere out there in the world. Like they're companion animals, but they're still animals. Like That's like saying it's a companion cheetah. It's still a cheetah. Like, I tell clients all the time, look inside your dog's mouth. Like, does anything inside his mouth tell you that he really cares about TV remotes and, curfews and all this other stuff? He doesn't. Like, he very much doesn't care about the things that you do. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if anyone like steps outside the box and goes to like a rural country and just sees the street dogs and how they interact with each other and how they perceive their environment is much more different. I think it's honestly like an eye opener how dogs perceive the world if humans had nothing to do with it.
mhm.
It's a really cool thing to think about.
There's a lady named Kim Brophy. She does she's kind of got an interesting take on dog training, but she went and she did a study in Mexico where her and a couple friends of hers, they went to Mexico and they observed in these villages these stray dogs in Mexico and literally just hung out and watched them and followed them around. And they said that these dogs in Mexico were able to navigate the city streets, knew where to go to get a meal. Some of them even understood that trade-off between being docile, tame, interacting with human beings was how to get some food and affection. That these dogs understood this, and they were stray dogs, but they could navigate the world around them. And she said, she's got a thing on YouTube you can watch, but she had noted that there wasn't a lot of fighting and that aggression for aggression's sake wasn't really a thing, but it was ritualized for communication. So dogs are 100,000% capable of being independent, autonomous thinkers. It's the human beings on the other end of the leash that fuck it up and forget about it.
You put a nail right in the coffin. Yes, ma'am.
What? So I
No,
am
like
sorry.
no, like that, like being saying that's good. Like what you said is so much true. I mean, I just observed like stray dogs around Grand Rapids area, and it's surprising to understand. Like I've never seen a dog understand a street light until I seen a dog understand a street light. I never understood why a dog would go to this certain Chinese restaurant at 7 p.m. and before they might get into a scrap with another dog or however it might be,
Hmm.
but they understand the environment that they perceive very clearly, much more than we give them credit for, to be honest with you.
Well, let's take a whack at this for a second. So dogs are they're observant creatures, right? Because they can't communicate with us. They can't like rough us off the couch or whine us out of a chair unless you're a 90-year-old woman with a tiny little anyway. Um uh so they the only way they can communicate or figure out how to get what they want is through observation. So I would argue that dog that's going to that Chinese place at 7 o'clock, I would argue that sometime between 6:30 and 7:30 a man is going to come out of that place with garbage, and that dog knows it, and he's observed it so much that he knows how reliable it is that he comes back every day. Dogs are like very pattern oriented, and once they figure out a pattern, like that's all they really need to latch on to execute behavior. I know that before I leave my house, I walk into that breezeway and I put my shoes on. And when my dogs see that, they know I'm leaving, and one of them gets really excited because she knows 90% of the time she's my ride or die. She knows she's my shotgun rider. She knows she's going. So she'll run to the front door. But that's that pattern recognition and pattern orientation. They can't communicate, so they figured out how we communicate and they figured out our habits because they're not predators, but they're scavengers, and scavengers have to be observant. They have to, understand how to get what they want by knowing where the things are and when the things happen so they can scavenge all they can.
Yeah.
I probably went too deep on that, didn't I?
No,
No,
I mean
that'd be good.
that's the truth. I mean, we talk about that as trainers. I mean, consistency and repetition is how dogs will be able to build clear cut communication. That clear cut communication is in air quotes, but no, like that's how you build consistency. That's how we build good, strong behaviors because they understand through our behaviors, through what we've presented to them, that consistency is going to bring along something in some way. Just like you described the dog that goes to the Chinese restaurant, you're more than 100% right. They close at 7 p.m. they bring the trash out, and they understand that. And again, maybe they obviously don't understand the concept of time, but if we can get into like just daylight or however it might be, they
Mm-hmm.
understand that that's going to be a consistent thing for them,
Yeah.
so they're going to go off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Circadian rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dogs are
They all know it.
dogs are narcissistic master manipulators. They really truly are. They are motivated every second of every day by what they want the most. And they will do everything they can to get it. And once you understand what it is in the moment that dog wants and what they're willing to do to get it, there's no real limit to what you can get from the dog. There really isn't. As long as you control that motivator, if that dog is hungry and it hasn't eaten in 4 days, it'll do anything you ask it for just one piece of kibble, let alone that whole bowl that you're holding that now is like handfuls of money.
Exactly.
This is what
That's
I
really
do.
how we all learn and all the animals learn. That's how the deer survive around the
Mm-hmm.
hunters and the farms. Yeah, that's how we learn is
Melee.
pattern recognition.
Melee. Yep. That's how deer avoid hunters. That's how they know you see more deer in the end of spring up here in Michigan. They come out, then bucks will come out. That 12-point buck you ain't seen all year all of a sudden is now in your backyard hanging out, eating off your squirrel feeder or bird
Yep.
feeder. Come on, 20.
Well, I mean, they know to have their fawns by houses where the coyotes don't go. They know to have their safety areas by a chained up dog because the dog will watch for danger or any movement. Deer can just chill out. They know the dog never leaves that spot. It takes them a while to figure that out, but it's the same.
And I think like there's a real disconnect between like what science knows about dogs and behavior and what people do. There's like a real and even in the old school dog world, like there's a real disconnect between the two. And I think the ones who are suffering for it most of the time is the dogs. Every now and again, the people suffer, but that's when you hear stories about this dog who these people got this cane corso and treated it like a Labrador, and it mauled the child or bit grandma or whatever. But I
Yeah.
think if half the people did like Anthro suggested and just went online and searched, you know, college college level information dog training or college level information or dogs 101, just anything, put any kind of effort into the other end of that leash other than, do you want a cookie, would you like a cookie, do you want to go for a
Yep.
ride, do you want to go to the groomer?
Yep. Yep. Instead of treating it like a pack member, they treat it like a baby.
Mm-hmm. And I am Zion will tell you, he would probably describe me as a positive reinforcement trainer. I'm not, I'm truly a balance trainer, but like I skew positive reinforcement because I can identify motivators. Like I identify what the animal wants most in the moment. Like once you know that, there's no limit to what you can get them to do. There really isn't. It's like that Malinois online monkey. That dude Omar has got that dog monkey painting pictures and walking tight
Yeah.
ropes. The stuff he's got that dog doing, it's phenomenal. Like it's nothing short of amazing. Shooting and targeting.
Yeah. Well, the wrist rocket. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, like
crazy. Yeah, that dog is
But I,
insane.
I've never seen the slingshot thing before, but I've seen Dobermans and German Shepherds do that kind of stuff all through time. Climb
Oh,
ladders
dude.
and tight ropes
Dude.
and all kinds of barriers and obstacles.
mm-hmm.
Just super
Seeing it,
smart,
yeah, exactly. Seeing that
super
dog use that
agile.
slingshot, that was
Yeah.
it's just insane. Like I tell people, don't be surprised if in 100 years you have dogs driving tractors and everything. Like, like please don't be surprised, because like the dog monkey, like he's a representation of where training can go, and with the motivators that are needed to create behaviors, create these different training atmospheres. No, I really believe that one of these days we're going to see dogs driving tractors, plowing fields, and all this kind of crazy stuff, just because we're finally getting to a point that's past just the sport and the pet world. And we're trying to utilize them in the most craziest ways. And there's some people like Monkey's owner who have identified that, and it's an incredible thing to watch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he's a 1 in a million too. Probably nobody else in his litter even was like that.
I would say I think the pairing is 1 in a million. And I remember
Yeah,
correctly, that dog was like a rescue or a street dog. It's not like he went out and found that with a reputable breeder. Pretty sure that dog was like it was on the street and somebody said you want it, or you can look it up, but they're a pair. They're definitely a pair. I think the dog probably wouldn't have done that well in somebody else's hands. I think it's a really
no,
good
absolutely.
marriage of bitability and like handler skill and dedication.
Yeah, and plus, like you, just the two of them clicking together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can do some cool stuff with melee, but I mean, teaching her to walk on a wall backwards, doing handstands is nothing when you're talking about a dog who can, target balloons with slingshots.
Yeah. Yep, that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Dogs
That's
are
if
cool.
if we can like, that's actually been a personal goal of mine. Like, I'm only 23 right now, but I've really been thinking about where I want to take the dog industry, and I truly believe I want to create a university for dog trainers. Um,
Nice.
to be able to have discussions just like we're having right now, but on a weekly level, on a daily level, so we can, in this lifetime, advance our knowledge even deeper and have more understanding of what dogs actually are, what we've used them for, and what can we surpass.
Yeah. Yep. Should be improving on them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But
those
we're
dogs like that can identify all these different words and different objects and these different scents and all that. Why is that so extraordinary instead of being more of the norm?
what the dog that identifies the words. It's
Yeah.
extraordinary
Well,
because somebody put the time and dedication into it.
okay, but I get that and I agree, but do you think that a majority of our dogs are genetically capable of being?
Absolutely.
See,
Absolutely.
and I don't, I
Abso-fucking-lutely. And I
I
can
think the
prove
breed
it.
clubs have bred the brains right out of most dogs.
I can prove it. So
Yeah.
when God, whoever, however you believe, it doesn't matter. When we were
Hmm.
created, animals were created, animals especially, any of them, we weren't
Yeah.
created to fail. And you can prove this because you can't unlearn behavior. You can't unlearn how to have sex, how to tie your shoes, how to ride a bike. You can't unteach a dog how to sit, how to lay down, or unteach them anything. And dogs are resilient creatures by nature because they don't fail. They don't fail. They don't view life in a lens of success or failure. They view life through motivators. I want that food and I'm willing to do this to get it. And dogs are masters of behavioral economics. Some are better than others. They're willing to put more effort and energy into the things they want because they want them that intensely. So I think when you ask me, is it about mental, are all dogs capable of this mentally? Yes. However,
Mm.
that's where enter human being happens, and they take an animal who is very capable and they make them learn to be helpless. There's a study about this done about learned helplessness, and it
Yeah.
basically means like you you're put in a position so many times that you can't do anything. There's no solution that you can do for that problem that gets you anything close to what you want, so you just do nothing. You just do nothing because nothing is better than doing something and being punished, or doing something and not getting anything at all. And if 60% of the time something bad is going to happen or nothing happens, like it's not worth it to the dog. It's behavioral economics. They're smart. And then
Okay,
you,
no,
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from. I needed to let you cook right quick to really see where your perspective was. No, in a way, no, I do get you. There's when we get into breeding and breeding statistics and things like that, not statistics, but just how breeding programs are made, there's adaptability. A lot of people don't talk about it, but there are dogs that are more able to be adaptable to
mm-hmm,
situations. Those are
you
going to be the
hear,
faster learners.
Yeah,
But
you hear
there's a
breeders say this is a versatile litter. Okay.
but it's like, okay, say my Akita, right? Let's go off my Akita. He can learn a lot of stuff, but for him wanting to do it, it's the biggest driving
Mhm.
force. If he doesn't want to do it, things go slower, right? If
Mhm.
I was to get him to want to do the whole thing with the slingshot and balloon, yeah, he'll learn it. It would be it would be more, not say complicated, but
Mhm.
it'd be more of a struggle because it's not that he can't do it or he wouldn't want to learn it, but he's such an independent dog that he has to go through a mental thing for him to say how willing he is to do it.
Yeah,
So I
he's got
think,
to put the mental effort into, okay, let's look at the puzzle. What's the puzzle? What's happening? Where's it going? What's moving? Do I care that it's moving? Do I care that it's not moving? What am I going to do about this? And do I want to do something about it? He's got to go through like that checklist in his head.
yeah. And some dogs are just like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm figuring it out. And that goes like to like adaptability. Some dogs are just like more motivated for whatever it might be to do it. And so you get more speed. You get a dog that's
Intensity.
faster. Yeah, you get more
Yeah.
intensity in doing it. But
Mhm.
both dogs can accomplish the task. One probably going to be faster than another, but if we're talking about mentally, I think mentally they're the same. They just have different
Mhm.
ways to view it, and how motivated they are
Mhm.
is a key driving force into how fast you can create and build that
Mhm.
behavior.
Mhm. There's a TED
I don't
talk.
believe it.
What did you say?
I don't believe it. I don't
Oh.
know why I'm having the same problem he had when he come on. I had somebody try to call in. I rejected the call, and now I've like lost my volume coming from you guys. It's weird,
You,
but
So somebody asked in the chat, he says, curious on how the guests on the show dogs are bred. So my dog, Melee, the one we talked about earlier, she is backyard bred, air quotes. The pairing wasn't super well thought out. Um, and I would say it was an opportunity for somebody with a decent dog. It didn't work out super great, but it didn't work out super awful. I have a Pitty who's 9 years old. He came out of the Thumb in Michigan, and he's a game bred pit bull. Every dog in his litter was put down by the age of 5 for either biting a person or biting a dog pretty severely. So all of the dogs I have, they're just your dog.
yep,
Average. Nothing that weren't specifically bred, line bred on this one. And Trace, she's got some stuff in her bloodline, that makes her kind of, there's some stuff there, but nothing super duper. I don't got no Ferrari.
I feel you on that one.
And
My
Zion's met her. Zion will tell you, she's not stable. My dog, I do not have a stable dog.
hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
I
That's
have a
no
bull
fun.
herder off of Nikita. The bull herder is literally just a Gen 2 backyard bred bull herder that found its way about 50 miles away from its breeding program, ended up in a shelter, and somehow your boy found him and snuck in a tug, did a valuation on him. Now I have him. And the other one, I have a Nikita. He's a Russian bred bear dog. I mean, that's where his parents come from. That's where his parents come from. And like, yeah, I mean, this is not nothing special with him when it comes to what I
Mm-hmm.
do with him. I do protection work with him, but when it comes to hogs, deer, any type of game animal, yeah, his genetics kick in, but I got nothing really crazy. For at least what I do. I got nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Westerman.
like stable dogs that you have to teach them what you want them to do, not just
Mm-hmm.
driven and reactive dogs.
Mm-hmm. Westerman, so I don't believe my dog was a well-bred game dog. So there, I'll put that out there. He's
Yeah, he's
not.
right about that.
And
Yep.
I'll go on to further prove that point. For some of the pity people out there, they're probably gonna lose their shit when they hear this, but he's a Merle, out of size, pit bull terrier. When I say out of size, he's not small, he's large. At his largest, Zeke was 86 pounds, and he's 100% American pit bull terrier. He's a big boy. He's got one eye is half brown and half blue, and he's a Merle. So, yeah. I'll get him out in a minute, and I'll turn on the camera, and you can see him if you want. I mean, ain't nothing
Oh
special.
yeah, that's what we love.
Oh, wait a minute. I forgot that we can do that. I
Yeah.
can show my dogs very quick.
Yeah, I showed my dogs and my plants and stuff already.
I forgot that we have a camera on this.
I hope I'm
Come
not
on,
being
Claire.
too boring for everybody.
No, you're doing good. Yes, dropping some bombs on them.
I hope good ones. Not like Nagasaki or nothing, but
Bombs of knowledge.
yeah. That's my thing, man. I live, eat, and breathe and shit dogs.
This is my
Oh yeah,
American Cuban.
big boy.
Yep. People actually think he's bigger than what he actually is, but I keep him under 105 at all times.
That's a good sized dog.
Yeah, he's 97 as of today when I weighed him.
Yeah, I like the way he's put together though. Them wolf type dogs, they have just the right proportions of weight, structure, or alignment, or
All
everything,
Claire,
just
Silky.
balanced.
Fix that paw.
Yeah, that's a good looking dog.
Free.
I've always been a fan of the Akita.
Yeah, it's definitely. I because of his genetics, he is a loaded gun. I will tell anybody that. He definitely has reactivity. Because I've already done hunting with him, raccoons, squirrels, coyotes. I'm actually trying to, with a friend named Lucas, do hog hunting in Texas this summer, or at least maybe next summer with our dogs. So I know he's gonna excel at that.
Yeah. You reach out to some of these other YouTubers that have hog dogs, and you get some invites.
Hog dogs are
Ooh.
hog dogs are impressive. I think that's where the American bully truly shines. Like them big American bullies. Like that's where you see like that docile, gentle breed. They store that energy for that big dog shit. Like they're impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. That's honestly how I got into like more of the bully breeds, is because I watched hog hunting. Like that's the foundation of what I learned about game bred pit bulls and just game bred bully dogs in general. It was just hog hunting. The catch dogs, and then the ones that go search.
Mm-hmm. Them dogs they're evil. They're mean to them hogs. They're so mean that hog just squeals and squeals and makes my little heart break in a bajillion pieces. I just want to call the animal people. That's so cruel that they put them dogs in those ugly vests and make them go chase that dirty pig.
Uh, yeah, I think these pups I got here would excel at that. My
I
Dane
bet
Bully
they I,
cross.
I bet they would.
This is
I
my
think
bull
they
herder
could.
Finn. Finn the human.
Oh
Finn is on, always on.
Always. Always. He's a good dog for what I need him though for. Actually, what was it? It was a week and a half ago. I had a homeless person. He was off of a lot of drugs. A lot of drugs. He came up to the car, and Finn's actually not a dog that's really reactive to most. He'll light up once I tell him to light up, but I had him in a down in front while I was pumping gas, and the homeless guy, once I pulled out Finn, Actually, no, it was Montclair. It wasn't Finn. It was Montclair. I pulled Montclair out. He stopped interacting with me, but then he went up to a couple in Grand Rapids and started pestering them or whatever it might be. And Montclair did exactly what he needed to do. He didn't get a live bite because I'm not going to venture down that territory with him, especially with the cops and stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, for what I have my dogs for, they do their business.
That's where I think I'll bring up the controversial thing. I'll say the stupid thing, and I don't care. I think so, and this isn't aimed at you, Zion. It really is not. I think there's a lot of people out there that go and get a dog for protection and really don't need one. They just like the idea of having a dog that they think will protect them, and the dog that's big and that has the pointy ear dog factor, and then it bites. But in all honesty, once they have that dog, they don't realize how much work it is, how much of a pain in the ass it is, and what a liability it is to carry around. It's literally like walking around with a gun all the time. And if you
Yeah,
don't feed the beast within it that you taught it to be, now you have a liability. Like now you have a dog
yeah,
who's like, fuck it, I know how to do this and I'm gonna execute because I don't get to execute and I need to execute.
exactly. I mean,
It's
there's
like
no
a
disagreement in that at all. That's why, like, when we talk about protection, I mean, there's certain levels to protection. I mean, if I could tell somebody what I want to teach their dog to bite, do you really need that? Do you really want that? Because
Mhm.
to have that, it's one of those things where it's like maybe just having your dog bark and be a deterrent, that should be good enough, right? And the dog's emotions maybe aren't defensive, right? Maybe just going off a behavioral cue, but like, no, I mean that's the truth. Once you teach a dog a certain task and it feels purposeful in it, at that point you've already loaded the clip. and and if you don't maintain training, you don't maintain the things that actually go along with that. No, now you just built you a fully functioning AK-47 with a very
That's run
flippy trigger.
that's run on AI.
It literally.
And I think there's something to be said about a differentiating between guard dog and protection dog. Because I know a bunch of people out there that have guard dogs, and I've had potential clients call me and tell me that they want to train their dog to be a protection dog, but what they really want is a guard dog. I met with people in northern Michigan who had some Great Pyrenees, and they are growers, and their concern was people coming onto their property, that it's not uncommon. I'm sure, people understand what I'm getting at here. It's not uncommon for motherfuckers to help themselves. The FAFO things, and they had mentioned that they had kids and they were concerned and they wanted, you know, a dog to do the parts and the things. And I told him, well, it sounds like what you need is a guard dog, not a protection dog. Like, there's a big difference between the two. We sat down and talked about it. A guard dog is meant to do its job at home. Like, you want to be safe at home, that's a guard dog. You don't really need it to do anything else, but at home, that's a guard dog. You want to take it all over the place and have it protect you because you think you're going to get mauled at the Dairy Queen or raped in the damn parking garage. That's a protection dog. That's a different story.
Yeah.
I think we lost Caveman.
No, I muted myself.
Oh.
Let me do this. There you go. I had
Caveman.
Zion spotlighted because he was showing his dogs.
Oh.
Oh, I appreciate it.
How does
But
I
yeah, I
figure out how
mean,
to
you're
get my
not
volume back up?
go to the settings. So go to the dots, go to settings, go to audio, and then for audio, put speakerphone under your mic. I don't even know why it works like that, but it helped me. But no, you're not wrong at all, Heather. I mean, even genetically, like if we could be honest, like even genetically, those dogs are different. I mean, Let's say for Montclair. So in the last 2 months, Montclair's been working tired. I can't even say the word. Someone help me.
Tirelessly.
Tired. Yes. And developing his skills to be more protective, right? I don't even want to say a protection dog. He has a good on switch now, and he will bite at this point. But if we even talk about the genetic qualities, the difference between a guard dog and a protection dog, I would say that a guard dog is more independent. They have the ability to bite, but that comes a lot from territorialness. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like protection dogs should lean more on, and there's nothing wrong, right? Because when we talk about police dogs, those are offensive dogs. They're bred for offensive behaviors to go forward, to continue to go forward, to track. Um, that kind of goes along with prey drive. But when we get into defense, those are more of a dog who hopefully are more stable. They have natural defense drive, but they're also actable to be able to listen, and want to be more of a safeguard in a way. I've had to like to get Montclair, my Akita, to where he's at. It's a lot about drive manipulation and just being able to control his environment, and then in some points of his training, not giving him ways out. Like that's the biggest thing. So like if he's not naturally like that. Yes, he'll bite you, but he's more of a guard dog. If I just kept him in the yard, he'll be a great guard dog. For protection, no. No, I've had to manipulate
So,
his environment and things like that to even get him to close to where I want him to be.
but isn't that trying to put a square peg in a round hole? If he's suited for more guard dog type things, and we manipulate his drive, aren't we putting a square peg in a round hole?
Elaborate on that because I never heard that example. What'd you say? A square peg in a round hole?
Yeah, like you're saying, like
Means
the dog is. Go ahead, caveman.
it just means you're trying to do something that don't fit. Really, you're making the wrong application. What she's saying, trying to apply the wrong talents to a certain task,
For
or
sure.
trying to. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
bold.
for sure. For sure. Um, you let's say it like this. I For protection, that's like what's the best way to put it? So like for protection work, I've had to use other facets of his life to make his life meaningful, much more meaningful. That's why he does hunting majority of the time or things related to his hunt drive. That's where he shines the most. So like I do tracking with him, I do detection work with him, I do hunting with him. Um, for for me, it's a very interesting way to be able to understand not only him as an individual dog, but to understand and learn different facets of how behavior works for him in general to get him to do certain tasks. Um, it's something that if you know what I'm saying, you put a mallet and be like, all right, this is what you're looking to do. Yes, the I would pick a different dog for this task. That's 100% given. A different dog to do a different task. He's learned to enjoy what he does through repetition, but yeah, no, there's it's definitely not what he's meant to do or what I could maybe involve him deeper into. If Montclair had a choice, I would probably say that he would like to just be like a property protector potentially, but mostly just hunting. He loves that facet of it. But it's just like why some dogs get teached how to. We were saying earlier with getting a slingshot and doing a balloon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that that's his main role in life, nor do you really say that that's something that if he had a choice would he do something different. Like that dog could use a slingshot. If he had the choice just to eat the food, he would just eat the food. So for me it's something to learn. I like learning from different behavior models And it's a very interesting approach when I think about how we manipulate. What's the mental and behavioral aspects of that training? For me, it's just an endeavor, an educational endeavor to see how dogs work from outsources past the German Shepherd, Mal, Rottweilers, etc., like that. Um, but yeah, that's kind of answer that question. Yeah, it kind of is. You know, you're putting, what was it, a square peg in a round hole? Yeah, yeah,
Okay. I
Yeah,
can identify with that.
yeah, like you said, you're trying to dive into the psychology of the dogs and the drives and what you can manipulate and all that. And also, you're just applying what you have. It's not like you have 40 acres and 35 dogs, and you can say, well, oh, yeah, this is the best suited dog for this task.
yeah,
You kind of got to work with what you got.
Yeah, and
Make the
that's
best of it.
100% of what Zion knows. I'll tell you, like that's what I do with Melee. I have a dog who is, by all rights, has all the right pieces in some of the right places for the bitey stuff, but some of the pieces she's got in some of the wrong places are just. It's a lot of people would have quit with her a long time ago and just thrown her wherever, but like to me it's the same thing. Like I try and do the best I can for the dog I got and, manipulate things to get things where they need to be. I do have to say I'm really lucky with her because there's a lot of mouths out there like her who don't have the drive that she does to override the nerve. So I'm really fortunate for my first dog that I did get in a situation where I have a high enough drive dog that is like something's moving, I want to put it in my mouth. you know. Somebody commented the other day that bitch will bite anything you put in front of her.
Hmm.
And she very much will. But
Hmm.
but yeah,
Kind
no,
of got.
that's the best way to put it. And I mean, another interesting thing is that like I do have some people that comment on that, and that's totally fine because it's the truth. But one thing I've realized that even in this, I would say that I've been diving deeper into his fundamentals and his basic building blocks were very skewed. Right, it's the beginning of my decoy career, the
yeah,
beginning of
learning.
learning certain things. Yeah, for sure. That I for him particularly, whether when you meet, and that's honestly, Heather, I can't wait till you meet like the newfound Montclair, maturity wise, right? I've I can't get that dog to do things he doesn't want to do. So now that he finally wants to be that dog for me, it's a very humbling thing because it became his choice at some point, right? Obviously, I had to manipulate environmentals and things like that, um, and had to like teach. He had to teach himself escape and avoidance, but no, like his role that he's committed to is his role. Now, is he a Marine? Heck no. He's like a he's like a
Coast Guard.
off-duty officer. He's like an off-duty officer. Like he'll shoot you. He'll shoot you, but he's gonna be like, ah. But that's all him though.
Right.
How old is he?
Montclair is only 4 right now.
And
Not
in
even.
the protection community, it takes a lot of gusto and guts to go against the grain. It's not for everybody because you're literally tackling a mountain that's already pretty tall, and now you're doing it with the most awkward, in the most awkward way, and then trying to find a decoy who can work off breeds well. Like that's a different story entirely. Like there's a lot of good decoys out there, and I ain't shitting on nobody. I'm not, because my decoy skills are lower than low, but there's a lot of good decoys that can't work it if it ain't a pointy eared dog. And they struggle with some different pointy eared dogs. If it ain't a Mal or a Dutchie, they can't do it.
Yeah.
You know how to
And
turn
there's
him on.
nothing against those people either though. Like there's nothing against it. Like like for me, um one of my good friends, Lucas. Lucas is such a great person. He does what he knows what to do. He does it so excellently. And there's no shame to anyone that is in the industry who works certain type of dogs, because what they do is they work them to what they know, and they build incredible dogs. So when you, like you said, Heather, when you put them in front of people that may not know how to do it, you should not put any shame into. You should realize, if you're gonna get into off-breed dogs, you're already lost. You already lost in the way of, you're gonna have to find that particular person. You're gonna have to find it could even be a change of the gust of the wind for the day for the dog, right? And shout out to people who do off-breed dogs. You understand the challenges that comes along with the genetics that you're put in front of you. And a lot of it, like you're saying, is drive manipulation. Like, you have to make this dog correlate something that it already knows into something that you want it to do. And it takes a long, long, long time for that. I was just blessed in the last couple months to meet people who do off-breed dogs that think outside of the box, and also are very patient with me. Because without that patience, I couldn't even get Montclair to do what he's been doing right now. So it's definitely a shout out to anyone who does do off breed dogs, but also a respect for people who don't. Because if we could go back to this, like,
There's nothing wrong with knowing what you're good at and being like that old saying applies. Caveman, what's the master of none, a knower of everything,
Jack
master and
Jack of all trades.
there you go.
Okay, but most people don't know the whole thing, and that's weird because I was thinking about that today because I get called that, and my grandma had a negative note to it, but the whole saying is a jack of all trades is a master of none, but is always better than a master of one.
yeah,
And most
I
people
think that depends.
don't know the second half.
I think that depends though what you're looking for, If you're looking, and I'm not saying that you are mediocre, but if you're just looking for some base level knowledge, going to high school is good enough. But if you want to figure out what makes human beings tick, you're going to go to school for psychology. And I think that's where each individual has their place in the universe. And go into that decoy who can work a ton of different breeds is great, and he knows a lot about working dogs variably. But if you have a Mal or a Dutchie and you're a Mal or a Dutchie person, you're gonna want to go to the guy who knows everything there is to know about Mals or Dutchies. I'm gonna go to a
Yep.
cardiologist if I got a heart problem. I'm not going to an OBGYN who studied some heart stuff, in his later years in college. you know.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something to be said for a specialist when a
Mhm.
specialist sits
Mhm.
fits the bill.
Yeah.
But kind of the point of the saying is, if you got a dog that you can't get to work for you, you take it to a behaviorist, and they won't be able to figure out what's wrong with this dog, because you need a real dog man and tell you, well, that dog's got a stick stuck in its throat when it was running through the woods last week, and it ain't been eaten, and that's why your dog's fucked up.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that,
Yeah.
or whatever it might be.
yeah. I mean, I think you gave a good example. It's when we talk of, like, let's just say psychology, right? If you have bipolar issues, you're gonna want to go to a bipolar specialist, right? Um, because going into, like, if you have a mal, you want to go to that mal guy, right? But when you have something that you've never seen before, and you're actually discovering something new, you have to then go to that psychologist, right? A more of a generalized thing, not so specialized, but that generalization is enough to create theory. And it's kind of up to you as the handler and that person to want to dive deeper to see whether or not this is a topic worth the discussion. You know what I mean? It's you when you go on, like, the off-breed side, you're gonna be put into a lot of corners, a lot of questionable, like, it's not like they're telling you this is how it's going to happen. They just give you rough estimates of what we can do to work with it. And a lot of times it's up to you to be like, I am not a psychologist fully, but thank you for giving me enough information. That's kind of like how it feels sometimes, you know. You don't get someone that really knows what's going on, but you just have someone smart enough to give you some good clues to what's going on, and it's up to you at that point whether or not you want to go down that rabbit hole of
Mm-hmm.
figuring out what it actually might be.
Yeah.
We're doing good, guys. Two
Yeah,
hours.
yeah, we could do even better if I get you two over here to check out some dogs.
Yeah.
After
Sounds sounds like sounds like Heather needs to get one of these dogs for sure. You know, Zion doesn't have room for one. I'd try to push a half a dozen his way.
Zion would be game too. He'd figure it out.
Well,
Zion, what happened to your schnauzer?
we might be able to do that. I mean, because the dogs are here. You know what I mean,
Mm,
and always will be. Oh, we dropped off.
yeah, I don't know where he went.
no, I'm not dead.
I don't know where Zion went.
I'm
Um.
not dead anymore. I'm here.
Oh,
Hmm.
you were disappeared for a sec.
Yeah,
How's
just
your
for a second.
schnauzer?
Oh, I gave him back.
Why?
I mean, Pat. Oh, my phone died. See,
Well, better go plug it in.
His phone died, but he's still present.
That's why he got disconnected. Yep, he didn't have battery for the signal.
Yep. No, I'm definitely game to come out and tell you what I think about your dogs and what I think, what I see. The experience I have, is limited as it is, but I can give you my honest opinion and I can point you in the direction of maybe some resources or some people. Like, I'll do the best I can for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's what real dog people do. Real dog people, they lean on each other. Hey man, yeah, here you go.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I got a couple. I mean, all my dogs are like perfect temperament and health and build. I mean, they all want to follow you around and they aim to please, and they all got drive and intelligence.
For
And then
Mondio,
you
for the
get,
ring sports, you need a more social dog, though. It really, really helps
what?
to have a more social dog.
What do you mean social?
Social, like they're not so leery of people. People don't bother them. They're
Yeah,
not
I
like
got that. Yeah, I
they're
got
not
that.
they're not looking suspect at people. Like,
Yeah, that's just confidence. That and the lack of that defense drive. Yeah, I got that. My dogs are pretty solid.
that's kind of what you'd look for a good ring candidate. Is you want a dog that obviously has enough drive. I mean, good drive, a decent grip, good teeth, um, things like that. You look at because it's going to set you up for the basics of success, and then the rest of it is up to working the dog every day a little bit more to get to the finish line, and then hoping that the day the trial comes that your dog doesn't decide to do something wonky like take a shit on the trial field or just refuse to understand any command that you're giving them because they're animals at the end of the day and sometimes shit happens.
Yeah, yeah. I've had
Yeah.
animals that like to make a liar out of you before.
Yeah. It always seems
Like
like mine know when I really need them to do the things and they're like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
it's only when you're trying to show someone else, though.
Right.
When it counts, they're there. But when you try to show someone else, they're like, "Ha, check this out."
Yep. Melee, my little female, she's pretty reliable. And when she opts out, I don't push on her too much because I don't use her to show out too much because of the dog she is. So when she opts out, I just kind of I understand the dog I have, and sometimes I've got to give a little with that nerve, because if I push her, I know what's going to happen. The risk is there. If I push her when I need her to perform reliably, in another venue, She's gonna remember that one time I pushed too hard. But that's that nerve in her.
What?
But I'll admit I love that dog though. Like I've learned more about dogs and behavior from that dog and my pity than any other dog I've had. My current
Now,
pity.
when you say that nerve in her, explain.
Melee is the easiest way I can explain it is socially unstable. So Melee perceives threats where there are none for no other reason other than in that moment she feels threatened by
Yeah.
something as mundane and innocuous as a little old lady walking across the garage with her arms crossed, 4 foot nothing, 90 pounds soaking wet. Somebody that we've been around all day. She decided at the end of the day, oh my God, Janet is walking over here. I'm going to lose my ever loving mind. Um,
Mm,
Somebody tried to give her food at Home Depot when she was a puppy the first time, and it's something we had practiced, like understanding people are going to reach out for you, people are going to offer you food. Like we worked on this because she's a Malinois, and I'm going to take her places. Like we worked on this. We directly confronted this. Um, this guy gave her food. He took food from him, and she turned around and went to go nail him, literally for no other reason other than she wanted to. He wasn't doing anything. He didn't keep reaching out for her. He was totally socially appropriate. She was not. But for
yeah.
her, it's not just with people; it's with dogs too. She'll go outside and she'll initiate play with another dog, and you can see she's in a decent state of mind and she's doing okay and she's doing the things. And then for no other reason than she wants to, she flips what I call the bitch switch and decides that that dog needs to go get nuked, and she will
Yeah.
not back down until the dog does something that she can correct them for.
Mm,
But it's just it's the dog, it's the dog. It took me a long time to come to grips with the fact that I can't train that out. You can't outrun genetics. There's certain behaviors you manage, and there's certain behaviors you manage, and certain behaviors that are, you fix with accountability or consistency or good communication.
yeah.
She's just a nervy little bitch, but I'm lucky enough in bite work that she really wants to put her mouth and teeth on things. She really likes to bite shit enough that even though she doesn't like the fact that she's in somebody else's space and they're gonna touch her because she knows the decoys touch her, you know,
Now,
it's
you
kind of
don't have any problems with her trying to bite you if you hold her back from getting that bite. Like she don't get too worked up and want to bite you.
no, 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 no.
No.
But I did a lot of like when she was a puppy, we worked a lot in positive reinforcement. She's really biddable. She's a very biddable dog. She wants to please. She wants to solve the problem as fast as possible to get the reward. She's very motivated, very motivated. So we did a lot of positive reinforcement stuff with her as a puppy and a lot of like negative punishment type stuff. So she really likes, she's very resilient and she'll solve problems pretty readily. So, I spent a lot of time building that relationship with her. There's a couple spots in life where she'll turn around and she'll try and nail me, but we're working those out. At 4 years old, I can finally clip her nails where it's not, an issue. When she was about a year old, a year and a half old, every time I'd clip her nails, she'd start to redirect at me or she'd curl her lip and, just kind of let me know. And it wasn't one of those things where, well, you're letting your dog dictate the terms. Like sometimes you just know your dog is telling you, don't fuck with me, you
Yeah.
know. And in order to keep that relationship intact, I gotta honor that communication. And there's people out there in the dog world that'll say, well, no, you gotta be the boss and the pack leader. And to that I would say just simply, sometimes the pack leader doesn't always rule with a stick. Sometimes he doesn't always have an iron fist. And in order for me to keep that relationship intact where my dog trusts me to take her the places and do the things I've done with her, like
Yeah.
sometimes I just gotta listen when she talks.
Yeah. Well, I told you about my Belgian Shepherd male. What he showed me that he has limits. He didn't do anything, but
Mm-hmm.
he let me know. I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to drag him. Well, I didn't try. I did. I just picked up the fence and drug him under it.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. He wasn't real sure about that. What was going on?
I won't
But he
lie.
did it.
I'll meet him on leash. Probably maybe on leash, okay?
Oh, he's No, he ain't nothing like that. You know what? I could, in fact, I would love if you two would come together and bring a sleeve, and I could just give you the leash to this dog, and we could test him out, and he'd probably perform better for you than he would me, because I got him from a woman. I rescued him
Where'd
last
you
year.
Where'd you get him from?
Facebook. Somebody was trying to sell puppies in mail. They were moving, and where did they move? Georgia or something? And they got right down to the wire. And as soon as I seen that male 5-year-old Belgian Shepherd, as soon as I seen him, I'm like, nobody wants that dog. Everybody's afraid of that dog. Anyway, in the end, they ended up bringing me that male and one of his male pups, who is the mother was a German Shepherd,
Mm. So
whatever you
whatever
call
happened to
that.
the whatever you still got the pup, the pair?
I still have the pup. That pup is a very excellent dog. Very excellent dog.
I've heard that a lot from a lot of people that when you get a Malinois, Belgian German cross, that the dog that comes out of it's a pretty good dog.
Well, it stabilizes them, and anytime you get two opposite breeds that have been inbred for different traits, well, then you get that hybrid vigor where you cancel out those recessive traits and get all the good, in that first cross. Same with these LGD Belgian Shepherd cross I got. Yeah, they're something else.
LGG, remind me what that stands for again. I keep wanting to say
Livestock
Leon.
guardian dog.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why. Every time you say that, I think Leonberger.
Yeah.
It's about the same damn thing. You know what you need, caveman? You need an Averchka.
Ovcharka,
Yeah, you need one of
Caucasian
them.
Ovcharkas. Oh,
Yeah.
those are the ultimate dog. There.
I figured that would make you super happy. Right up
Okay,
your
well,
alley, a big ass badass dog.
you should look at some of my old pictures when I used to breed LGDs. When I created my own, I had a line of pups that looked like Ovcharkas. Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. They had the same marking, same build, same everything. They were a little bit. Well, they were more like the real Ovcharkas, the working ones, not the big excessive show lines.
Mhm.
They were more like police dog size.
Mhm.
The 140 pounds.
Somebody's
Yeah,
in
they
the
were.
chat talking about Carver and Eli and sorry.
Yeah, I never had any Eli or Patrick dogs. I had Colby and Carver, and
I'm gonna go get Zeke so you can see him. I had a board and train out that I won't mix with Zeke. She's too much dog, and I think if she pisses him off, I think he'll kill her.
oh,
He won't start shit, but he'll finish it.
yeah.
Come on, buddy. He's a good dog. Come on, bud. He's a good dog, but the shepherd she's a board and trainer. She's 86 pounds and she plays like she's 12 weeks old, and he's too old for puppies. He used to be good with puppies, but now he's too old. Come on, bud. Outside. Anyway. Go. Are you done?
What's he doing?
Okay, apparently you're
Yep.
not going. Apparently he's not coming out.
Hmm.
Come on. Come on. If you ain't doing it, come on. He won't go outside and go potty because it's raining. And God forbid he gets his pretty little toes wet. Go. You can go back in the
Oh
car.
yeah, I got soaked first thing this morning.
He didn't used to care, but now that he's gotten older and he lives that pampered dog life, now he's like, oh, my toes are wet.
Yeah, I got a Great Dane female you might like to play around with on the dock. She loves the water.
Yeah, let's do that. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, she's pretty athletic. She's a nice dog. She's actually not defensive enough for my taste, but I'm just gonna breed her to a defensive male. Maybe a little excessive to balance them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'd be good for it. She'd be good around people and other dogs, and she aims to please. She handles well, all my dogs. I take them their whole life. I train them to handle off leash.
I
I
think
take 6 or 8 of them out at a time and just call them all in.
yeah.
Yep.
I
Yeah, they're
love
definitely.
it. There's a lady who jumps with a Great Dane in NAD. That's the organization that I like to jump with, just because they're not competitive like some of the other ones are, where they just chase points and like. Anyway, we don't go down that
Yeah.
rabbit hole. But there's a Dane that jumps there. He's 6 years old, and the organization will let you have two handlers on the dock, so you can have somebody hold him. And the lady that
Yeah.
holds him on the other end, she'll tell you, she says, I do all I can to hold him as long as I can, and I can't hold him anymore. I let him go, and this big son of a bitch, just he goes, man, he goes. He don't
Nice.
jump very far because it's hard for him to get, hit top speed as big as he is, but for his size, it's pretty impressive. He jumps like 19, 20 feet.
Yeah, I'm sure my dogs can do all that. She's only a year old. I've got some other dogs. I don't know. I haven't
How many
tested them
dogs
out or
you
nothing like
got?
that. I got a couple.
Yeah, a couple.
Well, actually, I tell everybody because they say, "How many dogs you got?" I have 2 dogs.
The rest
Because,
just live on the property.
well, the rest are bitches and pups. So
Come-
my Great Dane stud is one dog, and my Belgian Shepherd stud is my second dog.
Yeah, you gonna
Yeah.
keep the dad or you keeping the puppy?
Probably both. I was actually originally I was gonna get rid of the older dog because I thought he was too small, and I was gonna keep the pup. And when I met the dog, um, even though to me he's small because of me having Danes and stuff, this dog is so perfectly built, and I mean, this dog is bred to take a man down, and he is all. I mean, it takes a pretty strong person with a stance, to hold this dog when he's on a leash pulling. And his head is, I mean, he's built for biting. He's got a head like a wolf, big, round, muscular head. He's got a nice, strong neck, chest, good bone. He's really nice, really
Huh.
nice dog. He's not thin like a lot of these newer males you're seeing in the sports either. He's got that wolf physique.
Yeah, he's a bit thicker, probably a little
Yeah.
bit shorter. He's not real tall.
Uh, he's he's not real tall, but he
How much
is
does he
not
weigh?
little. I don't know. I haven't weighed him.
I probably put him
Um,
55, 60 pounds.
oh no, no. I'm gonna say more like 80.
Oh, so he's a big boy.
He's solid. Yeah, he's all muscle. He's built nice. He's not long and lean. I mean,
You
he's
chase
lean,
you
but
chase squirrels and shit and chipmunks or no? Rabbits probably.
um, I never expose him to a lot of that. I take him out in the open fields a lot, give him space, and I run all the property lines, and he sticks right with me. In fact, you run him off leash, he runs circles around me. Just keeps up.
It's a Mal thing. I swear it's a Mal thing. They just circle you like I don't know.
Yeah.
You can call me a goofy bitch if you want, but I like to get to know my dogs. I like to assign them personalities and I hear their voices in my head sometimes. It's crazy, but I don't know. It's how I train, it's how I figure problem solves. It's my process, I'm fucking nuts. Um, but Mals are always like jacked up animaniacs. What's next? What are we doing? What's going on? What's happening? What are we doing? What are you doing? I'm going too. Like they're just so
Yeah, and he's actually a lot more stable than that, but he does have plenty of drive, but he's
Mm-hmm.
not so he's more composed, I should say.
Yeah. Until a toy comes out, I bet.
Yeah, I don't like play tug and stuff with him. I just like take him out and run them. They keep me pretty busy, and right now I'm working with the pups a lot. And I pulled a couple pups out of the litter for my personal dogs that I'm not gonna let go.
I
We're
hear a
hoping
pup
that.
now. Arr.
Yeah, that's Mom. She's pretty ornery. Got a puppy chewing on a cow tail. I got a band dog puppy here at the window, trying to say hi.
Band dog puppy. You should do some sporty stuff with the band dogs.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried to stay away from the politics and like the 4-H and the dog shows and all that.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
I mean the protection sport stuff. The 4-H stuff is cool. I like watching the kids learn. I do. I like 4-H for that stuff, but it's not my jam. It ain't something I get into. But like, there's the APDDA. That's a protection dog sport. Not just PSA, Mondio Ring. There's APDDA. There's APA. There's Mondio Ring, which is sport. French Ring, which is sport. IGP, PSA. There's a whole bunch of bitey dog sports out there you could get into,
mm,
but they do come with politics.
yeah. I'm looking more like at placing dogs with people that are in that,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, having the credibility that way. Like, holy shit, this guy actually knows how to breed dogs.
You got puppies on the ground from that Malinois?
Yep, yep. I got two males and two females, and they're all pretty much the same except one male. Um, I would classify him more like the German Shepherd type of
Mm-hmm.
dog, and the other three I would classify as male.
Okay. And that's that mix you said, the Mal German Shepherd. Uh
Well, no, that's a male to my Pioneer Shepherd, the LGD breed I made. I took the your common LGD breeds, your Volkodov, and I started with the Pyrenees. Why do I keep forgetting the mother dogs? The Akbash. Anyway, I bred them to the local farm dogs to get them to quit roaming and to quit barking all the damn time. Get them more manageable, but to
yeah.
make more killers out of the local farm dogs instead of just being bay and healer type. And same with the Pyrenees. I turned a coyote loose in front of my dogs, and of course they caught it in no time. And when the coyote just balled up and submitted, well, then the dogs wouldn't do nothing but bark at it. You know, not like a pit. A pit would have ran in, or a good coyote hound would have ran in and killed it. Well, they
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to run it off, and as long as it wasn't fighting, all they was doing was barking at it. So I had to fix that. But anyway, I ended up with a breed, and I bred my Belgian Shepherd to that.
Hmm. That's that took a lot. How long did you do that over? How long did it take you?
Um, can't about at least 6 years anyway.
Wow.
But see, okay now, like a lot of people don't have 40 acres and don't have the resources and knowledge I have, so they're doing one, two, three dogs at a time. where I had 6 females and 2 males for my foundation. And I did hard selection on all of them before I even started. Same with my hounds. Like I had multiple hounds, but I bred a low percentage of them. So instead of buying a German short hair and then, I think I want to breed her because she's a nice dog, and then finding a male in the paper or whatever, I actually would get all the German short hairs I had access to, and I'd sort through them and find the elite, which would be, like 10-30% or whatever.
Yeah.
You turn down a lot of dogs, but if you're selective, you can make progress fast by selection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know enough. I don't know nothing about.
But what you're breaking up.
I don't know nothing about breeding. I mean, I know enough. Like I know obviously the birds and the bees piece of it, but it's just something I don't know. Like I
Well,
love behavior, so like it's fascinating to me. The genetic part and like tracing lineages and all that stuff is really fascinating. But on one hand, it's like the time and effort it takes to get the perfect dog when there's probably already one out there for me anyway. You know what I mean? For
yeah,
me.
exactly. Yeah, everybody's got their role in the game, and it takes a artist with a passion and dedication and willing to like give
Mm-hmm.
up your life and make sacrifices and all kinds of shit to do that. And I mean, when I was doing it, people were tearing me up. Oh, you can't do that. Blah, blah, they won't work and this and that. And they'll kill all your livestock. They'll kill your chickens. And I'm telling them, well, when? I've been doing this 6 years. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
lost a chicken yet. When are my dogs going to start killing my chickens?
Yeah.
And but eventually I overcame that, and I actually, made a name for myself in the farm and livestock, in the LGD world.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it all comes down to like what you want to do and where your fit is. I really don't care for um I honestly, man, like I'll put it out there. Puppies are a pain in the ass. Like they're just a pain in the ass. Just a
Yeah.
huge pain in the ass. So when you got 8, 10, 12 of them bastards, like
Yep. Yep, it can be. But if you have the space and you can keep them occupied, and if that's all you're doing too, like if it's not a side project, like if you're with your dogs 24/7, except for when you're going to get dog food, you can do a lot more than the average person
mm-hmm.
when you put that into it.
Yeah, but it's really hard as a breeder to go out and compete with your dogs. You can't prove out your genetics because you're stuck at home with the dogs. And I think that's where
Yep.
I struggle. Like I love going out and doing shit with my dogs. Hiking, walks, like trials,
Hmm.
training. Like I'm always doing something with a dog. Since we've been on the
Yep.
phone, I've worked with 3 dogs since I got on the chat.
Yep. Yeah. See, I don't know what your backyard's like, but I live there. You know what I mean? Where I can do that right out in my
Mm-hmm.
backyard. And I only have 40 acres, but I leave my property and go on to the next 40 acres, and then across that, go on the next 40 acres, and loop back across that, and on the next 40 acres, and then across that back onto mine.
Sounds like we need to be neighbors.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to build a tribe here for years. I got to wait till everybody's starving, I guess.
No, you just got to put that crazy lamp up at the front of the driveway, and the people that are attracted to that color lamp, they will come.
Yeah. I'll have to open up the Sears catalog, look for lamps, the crazy lamps, I guess.
Yeah.
What colors is supposed to be?
Well, it depends. If you ask me, my crazy lamp is definitely fucking neon yellow.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. If I had to pick a crazy color.
Thank you, Western. Western said good show.
Yep. Yep. Thanks, brother. Thanks for coming. Thanks for having your input in the chat as always.
I enjoy talking dogs, so I'm happy to come back and talk more dogs anytime.
Yep. That my chat probably wants you to turn into a pothead, so we got something to talk about.
Yeah. Sorry,
Maybe we
no
can
pot for me.
maybe we can talk about the breeding and genetics, and that applies to both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything with DNA is all the same. Well, not all exactly the same, but it's all the same principles. Something like a chicken, they're kind of cool because they're backwards of mammals.
What do you mean?
Um. Okay, like in
You
humans
about
and
to tell
dogs.
me the chicken came first.
Yeah, absolutely. But in humans and in dogs, the male determines the sex of the offspring. The male carries the male and the female chromosome, and the female carries two copies of the female. And sex-linked traits are usually carried on the X chromosome. While in chickens, the male carries two copies of the male chromosome, and the hen, she carries the male and the female chromosome. So you can do, and there's things like sex-linked traits like color. The color of the chicken is carried on the Z chrome with the male chromosome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the male determines the color of the chicks, but unless the female is a dominant color and the male is a recessive color. And in that case, you have sex-linked colored birds, and you can tell the sex of the birds the day they're born by what color they are. Because the female can only give her color to her sons because the color is carried on the Z chromosome. The male, he gives his color to both of the offspring, right? But if the mother's color is dominant over his, her color cancels out his color in the male offspring, and they're the color that she carries from her father. Now, the females, since they only got the copy of the male chromosome from their dad and not their mom, they'll be the recessive color of the male. So you can run a hatchery and do a sex link cross, and you can just pick the chicks out by color just at a glance, and know
Wow.
which one's a cockerel, which one's a pullet.
Wow. I did not know any of that.
Yeah, that's what you come to this channel for.
Yes. That's exciting. Now we need to talk about it next week. All
Yeah.
of it. All of it. Now I'm gonna
All
go.
right.
Now I'm gonna spend a week looking at chickens, reading about chickens.
Yeah. Well, we got a.
Is chickens the only bird that does it, or is it a poultry
Well, I'm
thing?
not sure about that. I'll have to ask my buddy Tom. He's a chicken expert. He shows chickens, breeds chickens. Been doing it for 40 some years. He knows all about chickens and pigeons and ducks. He's got
Hmm.
all those fancy ones.
Hmm. I know
Yeah, I've
some
got
crazy facts about ducks, but not like genetic. Nothing genetic.
yeah.
I know. Yeah, I know weird facts about ducks.
Pigeons are kind of interesting too if you look into them. They're very intelligent, very unique bird. They're the master of the sky. They actually drink water where not every, but most other birds scoop up water in their mouth, tip their head back, and like splash it down their throat with their tongue. A pigeon actually sucks the water out of the bowl or whatever, like a horse or something would.
Huh.
And then they make a milk inside of their crop and regurgitate it and feed their young. I forget. There's other. They mate for life
That's crazy.
if they have a choice, anyway.
There's a few
You can,
animals in the animal world that mate for life.
a lot of birds. Your birds of prey, your waterfowl, pigeons.
Hmm. Hmm. You got me like curious about birds now.
Always better than a master of one.
Yep.
I'll
Yep.
give you a new topic to look at every week.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I stick with dogs, not necessarily because I just like dogs. I think it's for me. It's just.
Yeah. Well, see, I grew up on a farm around all the animals and the
Mhm.
wildlife. Know all like the behavioral traits and the nutrition and the breeding and a lot of that stuff. It comes in handy.
Yeah. Some people I know like they don't I got a friend in Oklahoma and she's kind of old school, but her grandfather owned a farm and she spent a lot of time there. And they now have a farm, but she doesn't do things conventionally and sometimes she tells me stuff and she's like, "Yeah, well my grandpa used to do this and it works." And I'm like, "Are you serious? How do you?" She says if you mix dish soap, a little bit of dish soap and some um vinegar, dish soap, and something else in a spray bottle and you spray it, it'll keep the flies away. And I'm like, "How is dish soap gonna keep flies away?" She says it makes the other stuff stick. Mint oil or some crap.
Yeah, a lot of stuff doesn't like mint oil or certain essential oils.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
forget what all does what. I know rodents don't like mint. I think cinnamon. It seems to me like cinnamon is what you want for bugs. Now, dish soap by itself is a good thing for bugs. I learned that my uncle used to grow pot plants out in the woods before it was legal, and that's what he used. He used dish soap on the leaves for the bugs, and he used cayenne pepper in the soil for the rabbits and the deer.
hmm.
Everybody used to use motor oil for fleas and ticks and mange and all that shit. Even old farmers, they'd have a archway with burlap sacks hanging from it, an alleyway, or the cattle had to run under there, and they just pour oil in the bags. Have the cattle run under it, soak them down.
Hmm.
You can use um, like a cup of bleach and 4 gallons of water. Put that right in your drinking water, kill all kinds of shit, parasites and diseases.
Really?
Charcoal for worms, tobacco for worms, tobacco for pesticide, and
I
all
would
kinds of
believe
things.
that. I would believe that. And that's something that I
Copper.
wonder if it does it work on dogs. Can you give your dogs tobacco
Oh
for
yeah,
a wormer?
my grandpa give his dogs a copper penny. And then when they quit making pennies out of copper, he'd give them a wad of chew. And I did it for years. Even now, my dogs go to the vet for a rabies vaccination. I give my dogs um, their parvo influenza shit myself. I don't have flea and bug problems. I don't have worm problems. I hardly ever need to deworm. Even puppies, deworm them. They don't have roundworm.
Hmm.
Well, a lot of that comes along with what you feed them. The dry kibble is unnatural. Another backwards thing we do. It upsets the whole system of the dog. And one of the things it does that because of what it's digesting, the pH balance of the digestive system gets cut right in half versus
Mhm.
like a wolf eating raw meat or my dog's eating raw meat. If I give them kibble, it's going to cut their stomach acidity right in half. Well, then parasites and shit can find that a suitable host because they don't have those stomach acids in there. And then the dog's not eating hair and shit to push its
Yeah.
intestine clean.
Yeah. I feed my dogs a raw. They do a raw 50-50. Then I don't
Yeah,
have to, parcel out, make sure everybody's getting the shit they need. It's just easier. But
it is.
I will say I feed a higher quality kibble. Like I feed my dogs a Nook Shook. It's a little bit more higher calories, and I prefer the carbs that are in it.
Yeah.
That
See,
are in.
yeah, and my dogs get that from like the prey model, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I don't just feed them red meat. I feed them
Yeah.
the diversity of the whole animal. And one thing I would recommend for you if you're feeding kibble and you're feeding raw is mix some green tripe in there,
I
and
do.
that'll help
That's what's
them.
in my raw mix. I got that in my raw
Okay,
mix.
yeah, because
It's
that'll help
hard to
digest that
find
kibble.
it's hard to find like source, stuff
Uh,
for a good raw diet. And I don't really want to take care of some damn rabbits. So I just kind of, I'll go shopping and grocery shopping. And when chicken legs and quarters are on sale, I'll buy a buttload of those. And when I get a quarter of cattle and I'll use all my ground beef. And, people get venison, I get venison from them. And then when I pick up my cow, the people I pick up my cow from, the butcher, they're really, really nice, good people. They'll give me a bag of beef marrow bones and he'll give me all the offal I want. And I told him I want the
yeah,
tripe and he just labels it not for sale. It's hard to find reliable.
yeah, it is. And I go to a butcher shop and they kill every Monday, and they cut beef Tuesday, they cut beef Wednesday, kill pigs Wednesday, they cut pigs Thursday, they do smoked meat Friday.
I steer clear of the pork for my dogs and I don't
I
know.
don't I don't feed my dogs pork. If I had to, I would cook it and then
Right.
it'd be fine.
I just don't I
And
just don't
it depends because if your pigs are being dewormed before they're taken in the slaughter, well then the meat would be safe. Like not all animals have worms. That's not like a thing like, oh, you got meat, it's got worms in it. That's not how it works. But pigs are infested with that and many other things. They're a lot more susceptible. It's like rodents. I don't feed my dogs rodents and raccoons and pigs, and they're eating um, deer and chicken and beef. But I mean,
I like chicken and beef and if I can get a hold of I can get deer tags for free, and if I can get a hold of some deer, I'd gladly. I don't
what do you
hunt,
mean you
but
can get deer tags for free? Like
so
crop damage?
I'm a disabled veteran, so I can get tags. Like I can just go and get tags, and it
But
don't
you don't
cost.
hunt?
No, I don't.
Uh, I got,
I eat it. I eat it, but I can't kill it.
oh, yeah. Hmm. There's deer around.
Mm-hmm. I know. I just gotta find a way for them to hop in my freezer.
Well, I would look around for farmers that get crop damage permits. And I mean, just say disabled veteran. There ain't an American anywhere that won't give you whatever they got.
No. I don't drop it all the time, but you asked me how I got how I get I just go and pick them
Well,
up.
it is what it is. That's kind of the deal.
Yeah.
But
I had a friend of mine who was he would tell me that if he did had a good season and they filled their freezer first and he still had good time to go out and sit in the stand and he wasn't freezing, he'd get me one. And every couple years he would. But last couple years he ain't been going out as much. He's getting older, so he can't.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I could probably hook you up with some beef a couple times a week.
couple
Well,
times a week.
this kind of well, unless you got a freezer, I guess.
Yeah, I
Deep
do.
freeze. I do. See, I do all mine fresh. I don't store feed. I do everything fresh. But yeah, you can. I mean, I used to when I was breeding hounds and LGDs a few years ago. I was hauling 900 pounds of beef scraps a day home. I didn't use it all. I sorted through it, and then all the other stuff I burn it down for fertilizer. I make bone char for my
Mhm.
garden. But yeah, there's a lot of waste at the butcher shop.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sure
reach
there's
out. There's a couple around here. The last time I did, they were all like, "No, no, no, we can't give you that. It's not for human consumption." And I would tell them like, "It's not for a human. It's for a dog."
yeah, and if they're not, I mean, you can do that, and it is legal because I've looked it up, and I called, and it's I forget there's a name for it, but people have been doing it since the beginning of time, and they can't stop you. And if you look up the laws for composting, even you do not need a license to compost scraps from a butcher shop.
Hmm.
From any meat that's been processed for food, you don't need a license for it. Another thing is that that garbage from that they're throwing away, those scraps off of that beef, belong to the people who brought the beef in. So there's a loophole there too.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you got one you take your beef to and you go to them and look, I need some dog food, I don't see why they wouldn't give it to you.
Yeah. The people I go to, I think they're Mennonites. They're not. They're not. They're not Amish, but I think they might be
Yeah.
Mennonite. And he won't give me, every piece of offal in there, but I kind of get the feeling that that they eat some of it. Cause he asked
Yep.
me, you eat the tongue? And I was like, no, this ain't for eating. It's for the dogs. And he's like, oh, and he gave me a bag of bones too.
Yeah, because not just the offal, but when they're processing that on the saw and when they're deboning it for the burger, they're throwing away all kinds of meat. It's
Mm-hmm.
mainly fat and then bone, but there's a lot of meat in them barrels.
Do you take the bone and just you cook it down to tallow, make tallow out of it, or no?
Very rarely. I just do that for me for cooking oil. Um, I I take everything and I bring it back and I sort it out. Throw all the meaty stuff to the dogs, and then the fat I use as fuel to burn down the bones to get the bones burning, and I burn them down to charcoal, make biochar out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked that up too because I'm like, at first it was just a byproduct. I'm like, man, this stuff's got to be good. It's got bones in it, and I use bone meal for my plants.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked it up, and it's amazing all the stuff they do with bone char. That's how they refine sugar. I just put it in the soil, and the plants
Yeah.
love it. When the roots hit that shit, they go nuts. And have one single root come down, and it'll hit that layer, and it just spiders right out.
That's pretty cool. I never thought about bone char. Never even thought about it till now. I'm gonna approach a couple of the local whatchamacallit again to see if I can't So if I can't
Yeah, I
get,
would go in and talk to them. I wouldn't call them up because they might think they're being set up or it's an inspector or something like that. Just go in face to face, break it down to them. Tell them you know what I mean. You know the deal.
yeah, yep, yep,
It's
yep.
legal. It's legal, but it's kind of frowned on by some people.
Isn't there a little butcher shop in Coleman?
I'm
Or
not
out,
sure if
or out that?
Cosette's still there or not. There used to be Cosette's, and it's hard to say. Now there's one. There's Rieger's got. I don't know what they call it, but Rieger's got one over by Rosebush where Graham's Organics used to be, and they do a lot of beef over there. Then you got the Amish Stutzman's over here. Then you got M&M. That's the one I go to.
Stutzman's ain't gonna give me nothing. The Amish don't give nobody nothing for nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I could go talk to him. I know him a little bit. I sold him a beagle. I deal with it. I've been dealing with the Amish for years.
Well, they're across the street from you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I was here before all them, and I've known their elders. They're when they moved here and founded their colony here. You know, yeah, I've hunted with them. Took the kids hunting. I've traded dogs and guns, and I used to buy my dog food from a private Amish, and then well, the Amish feed store, of course. Yeah, I know them pretty good. But even if that's not free, offer them 10 cents a pound or whatever. Well, I'm sure. Oh, and McConnell's too. I don't know if they're still in business, but last I knew, I know the guy who runs that, and he used to sell me shit out of there, and he would grind it up for me.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, he charged me like $6 a box to grind it. He took one of them boxes that they packed the meat in.
Yeah,
Usually get like 2 boxes from a pig and like 5 from a beef. He'd fill one of them up, grind it up, fill it up for like $6.
that's pretty good. You should do your own little thing and sell it. There's a bunch of people in the area
Oh,
that buy it.
I've been trying. Yeah, I've been trying. I wish I could. I've been marketing it online.
You got to
I'm
get
trying
in
to
like
do
the
all.
Facebook Ask Midland group, and then in
Yeah,
the Gladwin group.
Facebook's a joke.
Yeah, I don't really care for it either, but it's got its
Well, I mean,
uses.
I don't really find any worthy people on there doing anything really. They're very select. Telling you, I've got so many irons in the fire, done so much shit over the years, and it's hard, especially on Facebook. I do mobile farm service. I'll go to people's house and slaughter their cattle, or go castrate their pig or their bull, all kinds of shit. But I've
Master,
never
master of the universe is what you are.
uh, Renaissance man, they call that.
Renaissance man.
But but yeah, it's slim pickings. Yeah, I build bat boxes too. Something else. That's
You know
one of
what
the
it
best
sounds like
things.
to me? Sounds like you need a woman. You need something to
Yeah,
occupy your time.
you know. Well, that's true, but not
You need
to
a
slow me down.
you need a reason to stay at home. That's what you need.
I'm not arguing with you. If you know any good ones, send them over. But I have
They-
plenty of reasons. I have plenty of reasons to stay home. But
yeah.
yeah, I do. Like everybody, I do need a good partner.
Just can't get through life without it. Can't get through life without a good partner. I guess you can, but
Yeah, when you have no other choice, but you can survive but not live, basically.
yeah, you're not really thriving. I think as human
Right.
beings, we're social creatures. I really do. I think we're
Absolutely.
social creatures. I think we're a little grumpy about it sometimes, but I think we're social creatures.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's why you can call me crazy, but I think that's why a lot of people think that their dogs need to be social.
Yeah, and they don't. That's
No,
my
they
dog. Yeah,
don't. But
replacing their companions with dogs.
I did. I got a house full of them.
Yeah.
Temporary ones, but I replace companions with dogs, but I won't even lie. Like sometimes I like my dogs better than most people.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Most
But
people
you
will say that.
but you got to admit though, like how many people out there you can say you genuinely like more than your dogs? Some of your dogs.
Um, well, I don't know. I value people a lot more than my dogs, but boy, is there anybody that values me that much that I want to sacrifice my dogs for them? I don't know about that one. That's the question.
Ooh. Ooh. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. I'm not. Well, I think I've experienced that. In fact, I've have had family members like that. They like replaced their social life with dogs. Like they don't need anybody now because they got their dogs, their little minions. Like, and I mean, and they did have or do have mental issues, I guess. But that, I mean, it stood right out as one to me when I seen that behavior.
Yeah. Well, I'm fucking
Yeah,
crazy then because I replaced my social life with dogs. But I guess you could say like my dogs are my social life, like I think I think we're attracted to the hobbies and things we enjoy and want to do, and like my dogs are very much a part of that. Like they're very much a part of my life. Like, there's not a whole lot of people out there that'll spend $200-300 a month just on dog food and go into training so their dog can get better at a sport that they're most likely never going to be able to compete really competitively in. Like there's not a whole lot of,
yep,
you know.
yeah, I do. But at the same time, you're that's like by necessity or by default, and you are reaching out to people of with the same interest to share that interest with those people and participate with those people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Yeah,
I think it's
that's
I think it's made me more social. Like it sounds nutty, but like I go out to these events and these things and I meet other dog people, and like it's made me more social because if not, my default would be to stay. Oh, excuse me. My default would be to stay in here and not do anything and hang out with my dogs and just go hike you know, and that's that. But going out and doing the stuff has kind of gotten pulled me out of my shell a little bit. I enjoy it.
yeah. Maybe I need that. I mean, I'm not in a shell, but what you just described, besides me going to the store for personal reasons or going to get dog food, that's my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do: is walk dogs, feed dogs, train dogs, teach teaching multiple dogs manners at the same time, especially pups. Is it's work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's one thing about my dogs. When they leave here, they've been exposed to so much and been taught so much more than the average kennel puppies. I think they have a major advantage that makes them a lot more suitable, a lot more workable. I live for people to tell me, man, that's the best dog I've ever owned.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear it over and over. It's my LGDs, my hounds, my bulldogs, whatever. A lot of people don't know what a good dog can be.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of subjective, because your version of a good dog and my version, like you're a hound guy, so your version of a good dog and my version of a good dog, they're gonna look a little different.
Well, I'm talking about the consumer though,
Yeah. Yeah.
because my dogs are
Honestly,
bred.
I think
My
if you
dogs,
wanted to make the ultimate companion dog, honestly, really, truly, I would definitely say go get a pity, or not even a pity, uh, probably an Amstaff, probably an Amstaff, or a good pity, and a golden retriever, and cross the two, and then pick the best from that litter and go get another golden retriever or a pity and cross that, and I think you would end up with like the ultimate family companion. You really would. A dog who has the drive and intensity to go out and do like camping and hiking and biking and family stuff, who's got the sociability to be confident and calm, but is also, pretty goofy and pretty, you know, pretty easy to get along with in the house. I think, I would think, but that's just me.
hmm, yeah, I don't know. I don't see. I I think all those traits are in most breeds, and I don't accept anything other than that from any breed. Like my LGDs, my hounds, all had the same temperament. Like they didn't look the same. They were the same dogs. My hounds were excellent LGDs. They all had the same mentality. Basically, I bred the dogs to have my mentality. Like the dogs I can relate with, I can pick out the habits and traits and know how this dog thinks and all that. Every breed of dog I have, it's either that or it goes to a pet home.
Right, but isn't that what you're trying to do? Is breed for pet people? Like,
No, 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 I don't produce puppies and I don't breed pets. No, my dogs have a function.
that's what I thought initially, but a second ago you said something that made me think you're talking about breeding for. Okay, I was confused.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say the dog's a pet too. Like who is it that uses the term pet protector?
I don't know, but that's not a term I would not use
Right.
that.
But some people call all dogs a pet. Like I guess you could say that because my dogs all have that serve the human mentality, that
Yeah.
loyalty, that
So you
yeah, that love.
value a biddable dog. You prefer a more biddable dog, a less independent dog.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
depending
I think
what time
anybody
you get.
who
Yeah, for a dog that you're going to try to work, I want
mm-hmm.
that absolutely. Like I want to be able to use my dogs off leash and have them listen to me. Um, Now you get into protection or guardian dogs, livestock guardian dogs. That's when you get into more independent.
Yeah. And I like
Harder.
I've seen livestock guardian dogs actually working on farms or in farm style homes, and I really, really enjoy them. Like I genuinely enjoy them. Like they're very cool dogs. But
Yep,
when I've seen them when they're not in the right environment, and they're not like
they're a mess.
they're not so cool. And one of my first clients when I started my business was Great Pyrenees, and they called me because the dog was stealing things from the sink, and she would guard them. And
Yeah,
this is somebody who's experienced with that group, the LGD group, and her parents actually raised Leonbergers, and she's got experience, but she didn't know what to do. And I was like, well, you gotta give her something to guard, like go get some chickens, walk her around the yard, like give her. She's trying to do her job. Like we can't fix this for this dog without you giving her an outlet.
and she needs her charge.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, but my hounds they had that same mentality, that same temperament. I had them free range around my chickens. I had my dogs in the house in the winter by the wood stove with a litter of pups, and I had some game paw chicks in the house running across the dog while she's laying there nursing her pup. And little baby chicken just run through the corner, right over top the dog. Dog don't even flinch. I mean, and my dogs, because of my selection, they were not by my training. That was their mentality.
Yeah.
I could breed a dog and show one of those puppies chickens for the first, even little baby chickens for the first time. And I actually have this on video somewhere on my social media. But you can just see the thought process going on in this dog's head. And this dog just all of a sudden knows, like, these things are not prey. These are part of my family. And it just lays down and just starts watching the chicks. And chicks are going in between its feet.
Mm-hmm.
And they've never seen a dog before. Dog's never seen chicks before. Well, the dog just knows.
Yeah. That's kind of
Yep.
like knowing what you like, knowing what you want, and being able to have a really discerning eye, and knowing when to pull the trigger and say, yeah, this is the one.
Yep. Yep. And like I said, I sorted through lots of dogs before I settled on breeders. And then if you keep the whole litter and you sort through all the pups, yeah, within 2-3 generations, you can do a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with the plants. But if you start mediocre, run of the mill or random, and you start doing random shit, you might not ever get there. But it's definitely going to take you a lot longer.
Yeah, you got to have focus. You got to have focus in your pairings and focus in your, plants or people or
Yep,
or dogs.
yep. But I was raised around that. I mean, because we bred cattle, horses, dogs, pigs, chickens, rabbits. Used all the stuff. That's the difference. Like all this stuff was for performance. These dogs were working and hunting. These cows were making milk or being eaten. All that. Same with the rabbits.
One day I'd like to get to where maybe I raise meat rabbits for my dogs, but I don't know if I could kill them.
Yeah, well, there's people that do that too. I
Yeah,
being one of them. But yeah, the
yeah,
Amish will butcher them. I'll butcher them or kill them. I can kill them, and then you can clean them.
no, I'm good on
I'll
that.
pull the head off and guts out.
Can't they can just eat it with the guts, can't they?
Oh yeah, you are using them for dog food, aren't you? Yeah, I'm thinking of
Mm-hmm.
butchering them. Yeah, you can just give them the whole rabbit.
Mm-hmm. My little
I
female will probably eat it. That little spicy Mal I got. She eats a lot of different stuff. My pity, he's picky with his proteins. He is
mm,
picky. He does not like any fish flavored things at all. I don't know that he'll eat
yeah,
rabbit. He'll eat venison, he'll eat beef, he'll eat chicken.
yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't think a dog would like fish. I know that a lot of dogs do, and them Alaskan dogs do, but they kind of
Mhm.
been bred with no other choice to like
No.
fish.
Zeke won't eat it. Cooked, raw, he won't eat it. And I've tried. My Malinois, she'll eat it. But the shrimp tails and that skeleton piece that's good for him, it's got chondroitin in it.
Yeah.
A natural form of chondroitin.
Mm. Yep, that's probably good to like me giving the dogs scraps and they're eating tendons and cartilage, bones.
Mm-hmm. All that shit's good for him. All that shit. Yeah, you got me like tweaking now. I need to go and start another batch. I make it in big, like 50, 60 pound batches, and then I bag it up and put it in my freezer.
Nice.
And I just pull out. I give it to her frozen too. I let her chew on it frozen. You harden up them teeth, clean them teeth up, and harden them jaw muscles and harden that mouth. I think that's why I don't have any sensitivity issues with her on equipment or anything either. Because when she was a puppy, I used to give her hamburger patties.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Man's yeah, man's best friend, he says. And
Yep.
throws back.
Anthro's back. Hey, we're
Oh
still
yeah.
here.
Yeah. What's that say? Well, all game dogs are in the right circumstances.
Good pack leaders set the tempo. Yeah.
Yep. Mm. Yep. Yep. That's one thing people need to learn. Pet owners is not let the dog control the situation.
Mm-hmm. Like
People trip out when they see me. I'll have like I had a litter of band dogs and a litter of the gladiator Dobermans within 3 days of each other, and I had the two mothers in a box sharing puppies, and I had one of my LGD pups in with the mother and her puppies, and all these because it was wintertime and cold, so all my dogs were in the house with me. And people are tripping out, like, how do you do that? Well, and I've got, big aggressive breeds too, and they're not soft. They're hard dogs. They're aggressive, pretty rough, but, and they're tripping out, like, how do you do that? Well, because I'm in control here. My dogs don't dictate what goes on. I do.
mm-hmm. Yep.
It's just,
Yeah, pack leader mentality, or just like it doesn't matter how you slice it, but you gotta like like I tell my clients, if you think about management from the top down, what do they control? They control all the resources. They control your time, they control your effort, they control what you're motivated by, they control everything. So if I'm where the food, the water, the play, the walks, the engagement, the entertainment, if I'm where all that comes from, then my word is God.
yep, yep, that's the way it should be. And a lot of people, the dog is like intimidating to them. I think they feel helpless and like, and literally the dog is in control, and they're like, "What do I do?" And they have to go for help. 'Cause they don't have that role. So yeah, you have to make a list topics for next week, maybe.
I wonder what your listeners want to hear about, because I'll talk dogs all the time. Like, I will talk dogs all the time. That's live, eat, breathe, and shit the
Well,
stuff.
yeah, we what the hell did you say that to? Was we maybe we was talking about genetics when you said, "Oh, we'll have to talk about that next week."
Oh
Can't
yeah, we
remember.
were talking about chickens. We were talking about chickens.
Oh, yeah, sex linked traits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I learned about genetics some when I was in school in some of the biology classes, and like I do think school is garbage and bullshit, but once you get to college, that's where like the real learning happens. That's where I learned a
yeah,
whole lot about a whole lot of shit. Like I really learned about some shit, and I learned a little bit about genetics and stuff in biology, and it was pretty it's eye-opening at just how linked life is. Like just life,
yeah,
not people or animals, life.
yep,
Okay, man, you need to grow some mushrooms.
yeah. I do. Yep, yep, yep. I need to get on. In fact, I need to hit up some of my friends that grow them and see if anybody will mail me some.
Mail you
Um,
some. You don't even need to do that. They're legal down in you can buy them in Lansing and Kalamazoo. There's two places you can
right.
legally buy them.
Okay, well, that's a long ways for me. Why would I do that when I can just have somebody send me some free ones?
I happen
And
to
then,
know a dog. I happen to know a dog trainer who travels pretty regularly, and she was just in Kalamazoo this morning, and has to go to Grand Rapids on Friday. And like, I happen to know somebody, so
so what are you saying? Build a bonfire? You're coming by Friday night with some mushrooms?
I wish it was that easy. I'll be in Grand Rapids at 7 o'clock Friday night.
Oh,
Work.
I got you. Yeah,
Oh, but there's 6 other days of the week.
yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about mushroom cultivation. In fact, I have a basement. But I've got a lot going on, and that's another thing to take care of and monitor.
Yeah,
But
but
I
you
actually
seem to
do
really
have.
like to nurture things and take care of
I
things and
do.
monitor. I'm noticing a
I have.
trend, caveman.
Yeah, I have to have that, or my life has no purpose.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I have to have something to grow, something to take care of.
Mm-hmm. You're hunter gathering is what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's all good.
Well, yeah, I've got actually the guy now. This time slot I'm using right now is going to change too. I was going to talk to you about that, but the guy who's coming back within a couple weeks, he's going to take this time slot back over. He's a mushroom cultivator, so I got the source for the info and ingredients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested in some of that. Uh I have some issues that I read could be very. I'd like to try some mushrooms. I'd like to
Yeah.
alleviate some stresses and some pressures in my life. Some things
Yeah.
bouncing around in my head that need to sometimes bounce their way right out or right
Yeah.
back to where they came from.
Yeah. That's what you need. A couple grams of mushrooms and bonfire.
I don't know if I wanted to go so far as say a couple grams. I'm not.
Get
We'll get
heroic
we'll get
dose.
we'll get there. We'll get there. I got a real sensitive like metabolism. Sometimes a little bit's a lot. Sometimes a little bit's a lot for me. I tried when Michigan first started the medical marijuana thing. At the time I was pretty I was back when my PTSD was real bad. I didn't do anything. I didn't really go anywhere and didn't really have a lot of friends or resources, and I kind of jumped on that, and in the process of trying to find my strain, I found myself more than once hidden under my bed in a closet, just freaking the hell out. So
Hmm.
marijuana's been one of those things where the uh the journey to find what's right for me is the risk ain't worth the reward, man. It's not. It's not. So
Yeah, it might be the CBD that you need anyway. But you need
mhm.
what you're doing is when you're smoking a high THC, low CBD, maybe THCV is when you're going to get that anxiety. But if you get a like a myrcene, that's more like a sedative. You get the CBD, get a like a strain that has THC and CBD, a high CBD that's more mellow, more relaxing, tames down the.
Yeah.
But okay, that's another thing you can do. You can take regular weed and counteract that with CBD hemp, and what CBD slows down the metabolization of the THC. It stops your body from breaking it down and absorbing it so fast, so you don't get that rush of THC all at once. It's more slow
Yeah.
drug out, lower dosage. You can do that
Yeah,
too.
I've tried the THC CBD stuff before, and I did well in the beginning. I did pretty good in the beginning, but I had a friend growing it then. I had a friend who was this was back when, all the weed in Michigan was basically grown by local growers. I
Yep.
had a friend growing it, and he would mix it up, and I don't know what he was doing or what he was using, but he did pretty good. He did pretty good, and that worked out okay. And then I've tried some since, and it's so unpredictable and so reliable. It's just not worth the. Last time I tried some gummies, it was CBG and 1-to-1 ratio, something with gummies, and I was like, this shit ain't worth it. Like I feel like shit.
Yeah, that's too bad that you didn't find out exactly what he was making, because you need to have those
Yeah.
same exact clones, them same cuttings of those same strains
Yeah.
to get that
He
same
actually
effect.
he actually doesn't do it anymore. He used to be up in Rhodes, Pinconning area, and
Yeah,
he had a barn, and he got pretty big, and he didn't tell a whole lot of people what he was doing, but apparently he told just the right people what he was doing because he got broke into a couple times. And the last straw was they broke into his barn while him and his kid were there, because he used to get his kid on the weekends. They broke into his barn while him and his kid were there, and they shot his dog. He had a big German Shepherd. They shot his dog. He said, "That's it. People coming onto my property for some plants and shooting my dog while my kid's here. I'm done." Like,
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
yeah, he's a pretty stout dude. Like, this is not a guy who, if he stares you down at a bar, he'll fuck around and find out is real. So for him to be like, no, but he's got his kid in the house, so you can't really, you don't fuck with that.
Yeah,
They shot his dog. I was like, man.
that's pretty extreme for some plants.
But he was known for having the probably the best shit in the Pinconning area, you
Yeah,
know. And kids do stupid shit. Do stupid shit.
Pinconning has been famous since I was a kid because of the Pinconning paralyzer strain.
hmm
Wonder if he was growing some of that.
I know he talked a lot about Gorilla Glue, this Gorilla Glue stuff that he grew back
Oh,
then that everybody
okay.
really liked, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
that's more modern. Yeah, that's more modern than
I don't know
paralyzer.
if he grew anything else, but I know he was, and he started doing it. Um, he started doing it because he was a construction guy, and he hurt himself real bad. He fell off a roof or something, and like broke his back in like 3 different places. It put him out of work. He couldn't work anymore. And he didn't want to take the pills. He didn't want to get hooked on the pills. And, pot was the answer. And he started
Hmm.
growing the shit himself and just kind of escalated from there.
Yep, and everybody
Me
at
and my
work wanted it.
me and my ex would go over when he was ready to cut and stuff. He'd call us and say, "Hey, you guys want to come and trim for me?" And sure, I don't know what we're doing, but I'll come help you. Like,
Yep, yep. I've played that role many times.
but that's what you do up there in hillbilly heaven in
Oh
Pinconning.
yeah,
That's what I used to call it in the backwoods. You got everybody gets a beer, you bonfire, you crack one, and hang out and have a good time.
yep. Loomis is like that. It's loaded with growers.
Yeah.
Charlevoix's like that. There's some big time shit going on up there too. Probably a lot of places in Michigan though.
Yeah, Michigan is very like, hey y'all, watch this, hold my beer. Or maybe that's just the people I hang around with and find, but
No, that's Michigan. I mean, there's a lot of newer. There's a lot of tamer people that moved into Michigan in the last
Mhm.
few years. But yeah, Michigan is a
So are you
unique
saying that
place.
the state bird is a Bush Light can? Well, maybe
No,
I think I've been seeing a lot more Pabst Blue Ribbon lately, but
My grandpa used to drink that.
I don't know why that shit's making a comeback. My grandpa also used to drink it.
Probably just advertising.
Yeah.
I remember actually, was it last year? I was at the gas station and the rep from Pabst Blue Ribbon was there, and they had cornered one of my neighbors who happened to drink Pabst Blue Ribbon, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna do this promotional thing. Would you be interested in one of these?" And yeah, they had some promotional shit they was doing, and they had some big. What the hell was it? A big giant case of beer. What the I can't remember how many. It had a couple hundred beers or something in it. Something crazy.
God. Because the party, what do you call that? The party case?
I don't remember what they
Jesus.
called it. Yeah, that's like a 4th of July weekend supply. Well, they do have the red, white, and blue too, don't they?
That's coming. The red, white, and blue is coming.
Yep.
I don't like 4th of July. It is not my favorite holiday. The only time of year where everybody feels all familial and they go out all together just so they can sit in traffic after they watch a bunch of bang bangs get all sparkly. It's just
Yeah.
not. It's not for
Not here.
me. It's
No, my neighbors put on some displays that would rival towns. Yeah, you sit right out here in the hayfield and just watch it all around you. I don't do that uptown shit either. That stuff's for kids anyway,
mm-hmm.
Kind of like trick or treating, kind of outgrow that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I
I've
used to
got
like
some
to go.
neighbors that like to spend money on fireworks.
Mm-hmm. My dogs don't mind it, so I'm lucky that way. I don't have sensitive, where they don't give a shit. My dogs are just they don't care. They don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah, I shoot guns around mine all the time. Desensitize them, plus just to test them, so you make sure nobody's gun shy. Definitely don't
That
want
little
that.
female ain't gun shy, but she's just nervy. So shit, just sometimes it matters to her, and sometimes it don't.
Hmm.
She won't stop performing though.
Yeah,
Sometimes if
that's
we
what.
do we do practice shit, she'll keep going, but you can see her be all the fuck. What is this shit?
Yeah, you just need to come get a good dog. Start
Yeah.
out with a good. Yep, start out with a good dog that nobody else has fucked up yet. Yep.
Yeah.
Solid genetics, solid temperament, and solid foundation. Not have to fix anything. Make
Sometimes
a world difference.
I don't mind the fixing though. Like sometimes I don't. I won't lie. Like sometimes
Yeah, that
it's made me a better handler, because there's a lot of people you'll see at club where they have these dogs that just do the things. They don't have to work for it. They don't have to earn it. The dog just does the things and they just hold the leash, and it's like how do you like how do you build a relationship with a dog who already comes out of the package, like they know how to do the thing, so you have to learn how to do it at their speed, and that's okay, but like there's no, I don't know. The process with me and Melee, I will tell you, it was fucking hard. There were times where I was gonna give up the dog. I tried to sell her a couple times. I couldn't get anybody to buy her. But
yeah, like to me that's a separate issue of having a. It's kind of like what we was talking about earlier about the genetic potential or the mentality of dogs.
mhm.
You can get a lot farther and do a lot more with a good dog. Just because you can take any dog and eventually make it do this something. Well, yeah, but you could have took a dog that would have picked that up right away, and you could be on task number 6 or task number 35, while Joe Blow's still over there messing with that dog. there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, there's I envy the speed at which you can move with those, the stronger dogs for things. I envy the speed that you can move through things with them. Because my dog is 4 years old and she should be, moving on to her French Ring 1 title, her second leg, or getting ready to do her French Ring 2 title. And here we are still plugging away, but you know, I would put my relationship with my dog up against any of them other guys. I had to work harder for it. I had to work harder for it.
Yeah, well, there's something to be said for that too. Sometimes because you'll kind of see that in hounds. It's not the same thing, but like you'll have some dogs that'll pick stuff up right away, and then you'll have other dogs they're kind of slow to pick it up. But
Mhm.
then in the end, that dog that was slow to start is a more diverse and more complex and better hound than the other one that was just
Mhm.
driven to just take off, and he knew to track and bark. But he ain't really, that's all he's good at. He can't think outside the box or whatever like this one, or you can't do as well of a job. You might just be mediocre.
Yeah. I think that comes down to some maturity too. Like some dogs, I don't know if hounds are slow to mature or not, but there's some breeds that are just slow to mature, and you couple that with a dog who's just not like who just can't put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Hmm.
Dogs are
No,
funny, man.
hounds aren't really slow to mature usually, but there's variables because there's different types, different
Mhm.
backgrounds, but they're a lot like a pit bull.
Really? I
Yeah,
gotta come hang
they're
out with your hounds then, cause I ain't met a hound yet that I liked. Like, don't get me
yeah.
wrong, I
Well,
like all dogs, but I will never own a hound.
okay, but where were you exposed to hounds?
I had a black and tan. My
Yeah,
ex-husband a long time ago, he wanted a hound and he had to have this black and tan, and I'm not gonna lie, that dog drove me insane. You couldn't walk it. She didn't want to be walked. She didn't want to be controlled. She wanted to do her own thing. She wouldn't stop barking, just constantly baying at shit, just
yeah,
constant. Like it just,
yep. And a lot of hounds are that way because that's what they're bred for. They're not really. A lot of people don't take the time to breed brains into them. They breed drive and ability.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, and a lot of it is training, and that dog is not supposed to be a house dog unless you're occupying that dog's hound mentality on the side.
Yeah,
You should be occupying that dog's nose and that dog's metabolism, the dog's curiosity. You got to find an outlet for all that, just like any working breed. And a lot of
yep.
them are dopey, dumbass dogs, but mine were not like that.
No, that dog wasn't dopey. She was
But
not.
anyway,
Anything dopey is the last thing I'd use to describe that dog.
yeah. But the original hounds are a greyhound bulldog cross, and that's why there's so many similarities between the hounds and a pit bull. Because a pit bull is
That
a
must be why I really like I'm attracted to the whippet breed. Like if I ever owned a hound, it would be a sight hound and it would be probably a whippet. Like I really all the ones I've come across, I'm like, man, that's a cool fucking dog. Like that's a really cool dog. You could wash it
Yep.
with a baby wipe. Like hell's yeah, that's a cool dog.
Mhm. Yep, they're neat. Kind of like a terrier.
Mm-hmm. I know this lady that's got one that jumps in the pool. And I swear this dog has got enough drive and intensity as a mouth that she stands at the base of the pool steps and that dog's got that toy in its mouth and he just stares at the gate and he fucking shakes it and he's "Arr!" Like you could tell in his mind he is whipping that toy's ass.
Nice.
He's a cool dog. But
Yep.
well, man, it's been real. It's been fun. It's 10:30. I gotta go walk my dogs for the night and get myself ready for tomorrow. But you gonna be same time, same place next week?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. What time you gonna show up?
So my last client, hey, Anthro says microdosing's helped him quite a bit. Whoo, yay! um, my last client of the day doesn't put me home till almost 7, so I gotta come home and walk dogs before I can jump on.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
maybe next week I'll do some work. I'll work a dog while we talk, if y'all don't mind.
No, it'd be awesome.
That I can
Yep.
actually work like I'm supposed to. Being lazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we like footage, and interaction, and education, all that.
Yeah,
Sure,
I'm down.
Yep.
I'm game. I'll show off my Zeke,
Yeah.
my Zeke monster. I was playing tug with him the other day.
I'll have to show off some dogs. Lure you out. I showed off some before you come on. Showed off my
Oh.
Mal pup and my Dane and some band dog pups.
Mhm.
My plants.
Mhm. Yeah, we gotta get together so I can see your pups and I'll tell you what I think and point you in the right direction. I know a guy who might be interested in one of them. He's
Yeah.
getting his footing. He's getting his footing in the dog world and he wants to compete, but he doesn't want to do it. He wants to do it with an off breed and he's a game dog guy. He's a game dog guy.
Yeah, I've got some 10-month-old pups that I'd like to evaluate, and I think they would work, at least at a certain level anyway. They would work for what I want. I don't know, you'd have to see.
Mhm.
But I mean, these dogs are super smart, especially this one that I got running loose here. Super smart dogs, super capable, and yeah, you get the right one with that LGD nerve in them, and they're
Mhm.
pretty badass.
I imagine. I'm curious to
But
see how this plays out and what they look like. You got
yeah,
my
well,
curiosity.
yeah, those ones there, the 10-month-old, those are some really nice looking dogs. They're very unique looking. They're kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, kind of regal looking. They remind me of a horse, especially the one I'm thinking. Like I've got this one picked out of this litter and this one picked out of this litter that I think, yep, these are the two that I need to get somebody to showcase. 'Cause these are the ones that are going to excel at it. But
As somebody yells at you for talking shit in the background.
yeah,
No, yeah,
yeah,
I'd love to
yeah.
come out and check them out. I come to Coleman every Monday, so
Yeah, it's like 6 miles up the road, and then mile mile south and a half mile back west.
well, you drop me your coordinates. I'll come. I'll come check out Hillbilly Heaven.
Yeah.
I'm picking.
Yep.
I'm fucking with you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll
I'll
probably talk
holler
to
at you
you.
in a couple days. You know how to get a hold of me.
Yep.
All right,
All right.
everybody. Have a good night.
Yep. Thanks for coming. See you next week.
You got it.